Genshin.
Make the ground shake.
I swear you're here to redeem first every time, Dan, just to give me a fright. Also, hi Bright Esther, hi Dan, how are you guys doing? Good. I didn't have power for most of today. The music's a bit loud, right? So... I made it like a playlist with the new Samira music. It's so fucking fire. Holy shit. But yes, guys, I'm doing good, despite not having electricity for most of today. Like, because we didn't have electricity when we woke up this morning, and it only came back at about, I want to say like 2 o'clock maybe, or 3 o'clock, and then it was off again from 4 until 6, 6:15, and I was just like, thanks guys, fuck. I just wanna, Hey Mau Mau, give me my first. You're gonna have to fight Dan, fucking Chaos, cause he's the heathen who stole it from you. Unbelievable. The sheer audacity of this man. Fight him, Mao. Take it outside, though. Y'all gonna have to take it outside. I just want to move this away so you guys can see Walter, because, you know, he's a very important feature of the stream. Gotta have Walter in there, you know. Meow. Oh my goodness. The chaos. How you doing, Meow Meow? I hope everybody had a good Monday. I've been tirelessly... Also, Mao, you haven't let me know if you need help with boss fights or anything. I think I tagged you. Oh, I still need to do this. Shit. Oh, what is 4? Maybe I can do some today. I hate these ones that take ages to unlock. Holy shit. Hey, Cupcake! How are you doing? Oh yeah, guys, there's new emotes. I almost forgot about that. Shit. Thank you, Cupcake. So I've moved the Yelan Rage to be an animated emote because holy fuck, that's adorable. And then the table flip one now like spins. The Yelan Wave is also an animated one. And then the one that Cupcake just used now, the Tenari Boo. And then we have Hu Tao's little ghosty. And then we got, what else is there? I don't remember which ones. Oh, I think the Nahida one is now a tier 3 emote. There's Kole notes. Oops. Go away. There's a Kale emote, Tenari. Oh, I think we already had those two though. There's a Chichi at Mummy, and then there's the Hu Tao, the spooky one. There's all the babies with the hats on as well. Wait, what does the ghost look like with the hat? Blessed. I love that. So the ones that I just posted now, well, most of them at least, all of the Genshin ones, the Tenari, The ghosty... Oh, there's also a Paimon one. I forgot about Paimon. There's a spooky Paimon. The Nahida Waku Waku, Kale, all the Tainari ones actually, Chi-Chi and Butao. Those are all from the same artist. Their credits are on my profile. They're actually free emotes. So that's pretty cool. And then my Yelan and Zhao ones are from Kayla as usual. The Barbara, Amber, and Tatalia are all from Saluthian, who's also, all of the artists are credited. You lost your dancing hat? No, you didn't, actually, because let me actually show you guys. So I was moving stuff around. So don't worry, we haven't lost anything. We've got a bunch of my emotes on BTTV now. So let me just share screen. Dashboard. Yeah. So these are all the emotes that we have. Oh, my face is blocking some of them, but it's okay. These are the ones, like, my own emotes. So there's a bunch of my, like, old ones that I had made before. Like the Tato Wave, Pog, Hype, Fright. So I've added new ones. Also, yes, Mal, they are free. The credits somewhere on my profile, so if you go have a look. So we have Lumine Jam. The nice thing about this is if I do Kappa Gen and I do the Lumine Jam, this is like one of my favorite ones that Joggin's made. It actually stays animated, but if you do that on Twitch, like with the Twitch animated emotes, it doesn't animate them, which I think is really dumb. You don't have BTTV? Oh, fuck. You'll spam it and see it on screen. So, yeah, it's just, what is this one? You gotta get BTTV, man. It's so good. It's so good. Because then you can see everyone's emotes, you know? So yeah, they actually stay animated through BTTV, which I really like. So yeah, we've got all of these. There's Nat Jam. It's just me bobbing my head. There's Sky Boop. And then there's my Disgusting one, which I've wanted for a while. Also, I need to check something, but let me turn off the browser first. GG, Sasan, how are you? They wanted you to pay. I'm pretty sure it's free. That's weird. Maybe check again? How long ago was that? Because they've made a lot of changes. So before we used to only have 15 emotes. So it was like 15 custom, like you can upload your own emotes. And then it was 15 like global ones. And now I just have 50 emote slots that I can use for whatever. So like that's fucking nice. There is something called BTTV Pro, so I don't know if maybe you clicked on the wrong thing. I hope so. But yeah, I don't know about Max, to be honest. There was a thing I wanted to check. If you'll pardon me for a moment to check something. Hi, Oxidized! It's the funny internet cosmic. Yeah, is that me? But Oxy, we met. So am I still an internet cosplay girl? Surely not. Surely you know that for realsies that I'm actually a person. What did I want to check? You think so? You think? You think I'm real? Oh, okay. I only have... Okay, I didn't realize this. That's quite interesting. Yeah. Okay. Booped. But anyway, hi. I do things on the internet. Fair enough, I do. I do some... I shit post on all the socials and I stream. That's about it. How are you doing, Oxy? Hi, Hiro! How are you? Good to see you. Okay, what are we doing today? Boo! No boo. It's too spooky. Also, I redid my hair. It's super purple now. Because I did it a week ago, but I didn't do it long, so the color didn't stick quite that well. So I did it again, and now it's very purple. What's available on the Monday? Breathing, does that count for something? It does. It does. When you live in South Africa, it very counts for something. Which is like a grim thing to say, but you know. You're doing good, Hero. Wonderful. I'm always happy to hear that on a Monday. Jargon, are you here? Meow. I don't know. Any people who want to do domain? Wow. Don't ask me why I scroll through all of them. It's just habit at this point. I wanna just dump all of my resin into that one domain because I have got fuck all else to do. It's Monday. It is Monday, right? I don't even know what my phone is. Yeah, it's Monday. Fuck. Did I say it's Monday? Shit, man. You have load shedding? No, I'm sorry. It's Thursday? Oh, the dream. That would be amazing. I really wanted to have my drinking stream this coming weekend. But I'm gonna have to see what load shedding is like. Tatanator! Oh my god, I love that name. Oxy is gaslighting me. Oh no! How you doing, Nabil? Wait, what? Nibbles, how you doing, Nibbles? You were in shock? Oh no, Oxy, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I broke it to you that way. It's a bit insensitive of me to just drop it on you. It's Mona Day. Bibbles? Is it Bibbles? What did I say? You good, Hassan? Oh, fantastic. How you doing, Moombas? You finished setting for today? Have you caught up? You Nabibbles? I can call you Nabibbles if you want. Wait. Yes. Yes, Cupcake. Okay, so I don't know if Jargon's around. Why do I have a diamond? You don't want it? Must I take it away? I can take it away. I have that power. I can take it away. You don't want it? Should I take it away? You got 10 seconds to reply. My delay is probably longer than 10 seconds, but you got 10 seconds. Mouse is take it away. Instantly. You didn't pause for a moment. Mao was like, nope. Because you are a diamond. Oh, look at Nabibbles here. I want it, but I don't deserve it. No, I think so. Surely that's my choice to make. Oh, let's change our squad. Prime Minister! Yes? No! I appreciate you, Cupcake. Tim followed me on Twitter. Which Tim? Do I know it's him? I'm not very smart, sorry guys. No one comes here for my ace gameplay though. Oh, thank you for the hug! You turned me into mashed potatoes. Your fingers hurt from practicing? What were you practicing, Hassan? Like making notes? Percussion? What? What are you doing, Hassan? Oh! Timo! Ah! Shit! Oh, Timo! Yeah. He's very sweet. That's cool, though. Yeah, he's very nice. Oh, Jesus Christ on it. Ah, stop stealing my camera, game. Goddamn. You're gonna get me killed. I hate when the game does that. It's like, oh yeah, you accidentally spawned the seeds thing, so now we're gonna steal your camera and make sure you can't see jack shit. Oh, well, that was a waste of a burst. That's okay. Percussion? Lungs test. To check the sound. Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, his son... that sounds terrible. It sounds painful. We need a camera fuck up redeem. Oh my god. Please no. I doubt something like that will ever be added, to be honest. But even this thing steals your camera for a second. And I'm like, bro, let me just live my life over here. He struggles to say your name. Oh man, but that's so sweet. Yeah, he's very helpful. And his streams are a vibe as well. I don't always get to watch these days because of how bad load shedding has become, but you know, I got to watch some this weekend. Just a short one. If wait, if your lungs sound like your stomach, it means F. There's blood on the lungs. Oh my god. There's Dixper for Genshin. Don't say that, Jargon, please. Spare me. Also, Jargon, do you wanna do domain? Oh my goodness, Peanut, thank you! Look at that fucking party! How you doing, Peanut? Blood on my lung. So like, I know that there's oh, we doing it now? I know that there's what is it called? If your lungs make like a cracking noise, like then something bad's going on. You might want to go see a doctor. Just saying. Always fantastic. I'm so glad to hear that. Thank you for the mess on my screen. It's very beautiful. Peanut and his son. I love that. It's one of my favorite things that I have for point redeems. Because it's cheap and it's just a little bit of sparkle to make everybody feel good. So why not, you know? Good morning. Who you saying good morning to? Oh, Jargon? Is it still morning for you? Close enough, I guess. Fucking Bimby. Fucking Bimby. You better get your ass over here, Bimby. If anything's ever wrong in the world, just blame Bimby. Doesn't matter what it is. Just shout out fucking Bimby. It'll make you feel better. We bring messy bitches, yeah. You want to be a test subject? Wait, for what, Hassan? Oh, you want someone to be a test subject? Oh my god. You want to stab someone in the chest? Well, not me, Hassan, because I'm very old, so you might hurt me. You might break some ribs. It made you feel better? Good. Fucking Bimby, mate. So the name came about because for some reason, my auto cucumber didn't save me the one time I was trying to write Jargon's name, and it, for whatever reason, wrote Bimby, and we've both just accepted it. For a long time, I didn't know what it was, but then he explained, and I was like, no ways, how the fuck did I, how the fuck did I spell it so badly? Let's go! Oh, this comp is disgusting, well and truly. Oh my god. Absolutely disgusting. You wanted Kai, but he said no. Look, I don't blame him, to be fair, Hassan. But you are closer to him, so yeah, you should definitely go find him. I'm sure you can just walk there, Hassan. It might take you a little while. That was so pleasing to watch, right? Nutella's not old. Ah! My heart is old, okay? So when I say I'm old, it's my heart that's old, actually. I don't even remember what I was saying now, but anyway, it's okay. How you doing, noob? You want me to call you noob or like... Oof. I think our best time was like 30 seconds. This shit is bananas. B-A-N-A-N-A. Yes. Can't give Guri a heart attack, so give him a tater. What the fuck? This is bully. How you doing, noob? Why? 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 For who? It's for Kokomi. Crit Komi? Could have higher rolls, but it's okay. Crit Komi. Noob is fine? Okay. Aus? Like Australia? Because it's auspicious, yeah? I just go for the shortest part of the name and then, like, Cupcake is Cupcake. Because saying hello or mad by themselves just sounds a little bit strange. So good, man. We've got this shit down to a fine art. This team just fucking wallops everything. Just call Cupcake Cake, cause she... Cupcake's a she? Oh? Wait, it's got flat HP and defense, but... This is an okay looking piece, not gonna lie. Call me Cupcake. I find it weird when people say my full name. They can't read it half the time and be it stupid long. Yeah. I think the first time I read it, I was like, what the fuck? And I just saw the Cupcake at the end and I was like, Cupcake. That's it. It's Cupcake. There's some people whose name I completely misread. Well, I'll read like the wrong half. And I make it difficult for myself. I only had one burst there, but it's okay. It was still Sonic fast. You! Fucking... Kaza! Anyway. Cupcake was made a she and Guri is Discord. Listen, I did think Cupcake was so Whammons at first, I'm not gonna lie. You wants his wife? Oh! Convoluted family tree. Oh my goodness. Kun! No, you're her son. My son, her son. And it was her son's birthday yesterday. So for those that, what is that main stat? Please give me peace. That could have been crit right. Ah! I'm gonna go cry now. I accidentally restarted the domain. This is fine. Oh, wait, did I actually leave? Okay, I left. I'm not that dumb. Anyway, it was her son's birthday yesterday. So if you guys wanna wish him, I'd appreciate it. I wonder... Do you... Oh, Jesus, that's caps lock. Do you need anything else? I don't know. Why? I can't spell! Oh, Jesus. I don't know if we'll do bosses today. Maybe on Wednesday. I'm not too sure. Most people think I'm a woman. I get it because of my name. It's funny when I tell them I'm not. Well, look, when I met you, I was just like... buffering. I don't think I knew before that, Cupcake. And in fact, I think when I met you at Comic-Con, I was like... I didn't even get to... Listen here! You little fuck! Listen here, Joggin. This little fuck left before I could even, like, say anything. Want to know hilarious secrets? Sure. I didn't spell nothing wrong intentionally. I thought you were doing it to be like a snarky poo, and then yeah, apparently no. We're both just a pair of idiots. But this is what I wanted to do. And then I couldn't remember the name of the emote. This is like one of my favorite ones that Choggin's made. It's just me doing this. I don't even remember why I did that. Someone was irritating me and I was just like, there's two! I saw the buffer. Listen, my brain's buffering most of the time. You guys have just got like delayed Tato. Oh my god. I thought Jargon's name was Jargon. Yes, his name is Jargon. Or Jargon, actually. Yeah, Mao has the brain cell today, yeah. Oh, was I flipping you off, Jargon? It's entirely possible. You gonna Loki's gonna get some Genshin grinding done? No worries. No worries. And if you need help with anything, noob, I don't know how much you've played, if you need help with anything. We do boss fights. Oh, wait, I guess the only condition is that your world level be 8. Because we do boss fights together. I'm probably gonna do it on Wednesday this week. Just depends on load shedding, actually, more than anything else. But, yeah, if you need help, I do have a redeem for it if it's, like, outside of that time. And then also on my Discord, when I find the button to press. There we go. Yeah, we have a channel there, so if anyone needs any help with Genshin, just post there. You play once a month, you're super casual? Okay, I mean, fair enough. Well, you know, if you spend enough time in my stream, I think it will... Okay, punch mic. I'm sure it will increase, because I have a way of somehow convincing people to play this game. I don't really know what I do, but you know. You get a kick from it? Oh, man. That's good, though. As long as someone's happy and no one's hurting, then it's all good. In Egyptian culture, purple hair is a sign of a strong bladder. I hope everyone peed today. Thank you, Captain Ket. I do have a strong bladder, though. In fact, I call it an iron bladder. Which is not really something to boast, to be fair. Because you shouldn't hold it in. But, like, long car rides? Public spaces? I refuse. I will not. I have to be, like, on the verge of, like, passing out before I'll use a public loo. They're disgusting. You have long hair, so you could be a woman. I mean, I've never really viewed long hair as like a woman thing. That said, a lot of guys with long hair don't look after it, which is the problem. And I think it should be taken away from them. Just cut it all off. Do you brush your hair? Do you condition it? If you answered no to either one of those. Anyway, you refuse to go at school. Oh no! Fuck. I guess then you would get used to it. Big bladder gang? Yeah. We should all dye our hair purple. And if anyone asks, then be like... just like shame them for it. And be like, imagine you don't know history. And then just walk away. And like be super mysterious about this group of people and everyone's got purple hair. Because why not? Why are we living this life if not to be a menace to the people around us? Imagine looking after your hair. Oh my goodness. Gone. One time. Snip, snip. You brush, wash, and condition? Good, you're supposed to. Do you want a cookie? Especially if you got long hair. We can pardon the ones with short hair. But once your hair starts getting long, this part, it doesn't get nothing from the top of the head. So this is gonna be like all crunchy and dry and nasty if you don't condition it. I only, well, for the most part, I'll wash the top of my hair and I don't condition past like this point. So like I'll only condition the bottom because my hair is quite oily. So like, if I put conditioner on the top as well, it becomes a fucking mess. It's actually gross. So yeah. And then the bottom parts, I wash it, but not as often as I wash the top. Because again, like I said, this bit gets dry. Because it's so far away from the oils. Even if you brush your hair, it still doesn't get enough. So yeah, gotta keep that mop healthy. People who use 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioners should be charged for war crimes. Yes, that as well. Oh my gosh. Do you have a separate shampoo and conditioner? Oh, you want the cookie? Fuck. What if I don't have any? I don't think I actually have any cookies. Mistakes were made. Okay, what is this one? Oh. Oh, okay. That was an easy one. Never mind. Cool. This is fine. Then don't offer me cookies. Well, to be fair, I asked, what do you want? A cookie? I didn't say, here's a cookie. It wasn't an offer. I was asking if you wanted one. Loophole! Hi, Vitrix! How are you? Oily hair gang. It sucks, man. It sucks. Because, like, especially, like, when I was younger, I used to have such bad skin. It's a lot better now, but, like... I had bangs as well at some point. That's why I have hair that's not the same length as... Because my actual hair is rather long, but this bit is shorter. Because I had bangs at one point. My hair grows too fast to have bangs, because I need to cut them every week. So I was like, you know what, fuck it. I can't be asked. I'm done. And I've just let it grow out. But let me tell you, I'm getting that like, oh, what if I cut it a little bit shorter kind of vibes again? And I'm just like, please, brain, not, no. I got the loophole! Fuck yeah. It does its own shit? Yeah, no. It's, and it's difficult as well when your hair's curly. Because, like, okay, mine's, you can't really see it, I guess. But it's like, if I just leave it to do its own thing, it's like hella curly. And like, you can't brush curly hair because it just goes woof. So I turn into a lion when I brush my hair. It's a mess. And it's terrifying. I only recently learned that you need to oh, gross. I don't know what I'm cleaning, but I'm cleaning something. It's brown and it's in a hospital on the floor. Don't know what these people have been doing, but they're nasty. Nasty. Anyway, why you always lying? Hi, despair. You gonna ombre your hair? Ooh! Very nice. Like, all gonna be purple? Like, different shades of purple? Or is it gonna be, like, dark to purple? Or how's it gonna look, Patrix? Ah! Joggin!
Ha! Got him!
Hey! What? Excuse me, sir. Thank you. Who did that go to? Artemis, Andy, Lawrence Otaku, it's Tiff, and Kendoru. Thank you, Joggin. Thank you for the gift service. There's Poggies as if. Damn, look at Joggin. Lucy, no! Stop! How are you doing, Lucy? Good to see you again. We missed you. Joggin missed you too. If that's hard to believe, I don't blame you. Hi, Spec! How are you? You're natural to like halfway. Ah, and then purple to the tips. Very nice. And, did you say, like, for December? Yeah. Are you gonna, is it in December because of work? Are you gonna go back to normal hair color when you go back to work? Bless her, oh my god. Are you looking for what? Are you looking for a sugar daddy, Lucy? Oi, oi, oi. You need to stop procrastinating? Yes, go get food! Oh my goodness, especially, I don't know when you have load shedding, homie. Go get food. Yeah, I'm doing good, Spec. Spec, I was thinking of doing boss fights on Wednesday. Guess what? It's Monday. You have no idea. Just need to manage until our government stops fucking over the unpaid carers and disabled people. Oh, man. Do they not have, like... I don't know. So people in South Africa who work, like, in any kind of, like social field, like, they get paid like garbage. Teachers, nurses, doctors. I think only private doctors get, like, a decent salary. Like, if they have their own practice or whatever, or if they're a specialist. But, like, for the most part, people get really underpaid for the amount of fucking work they have to do here. But yeah, I don't even know about... We don't really have carers as such. We'll have, like nurses to take care of certain people, and, like, there's people in, like, old age homes. But yeah. Aramex of Pooples, Ganyu's on the way. Oh shit, wait, are you cosplaying Ganyu? That's so exciting. I hope you get it soon. Gosh. Hi, can I call you Deceit? It feels mean though. It feels mean to call you Deceit, but like honest sounds a little bit weird. Like just to say honest by itself. How are you doing, Deceit? Oh, your load shedding's already passed? What are you doing here? Get out of here, Cupcake. Tech, go get your food. Did I miss any other messages? Sorry. But yeah, I'm doing good otherwise. Let's see. Would you rather call me by my government name? Well, if you don't mind using your government name, sure. But like, you know, don't feel pressured. But it just feels like, a mean thing for me to call you Deceit. That was spicy meatballs. And I have the wrong team out. Oh no, this is the worst timeline. Let me restart. I forgot I was doing a bounty. Fuck. You call him honest? Okay, well, Bob. I could call you HD. And the brain that I have, the brain that I was born with, as soon as I said D, I wanted to say D's nuts! And then I was like, do not. And then I just told you guys that I wanted to do it anyway, so kind of defeated the point. However, that's just how my brain works. As soon as someone says D, my brain's like, D's nuts! I hate it. I can't. Welcome to the channel. We have Deceit and Garbage. Enjoy your stay. That's actually true. We have someone called Garbage as well. So yeah, y'all with your... Oh, I didn't change my team! What the f... My Dory just died because of... Ah! Shit. Sorry, bitch. Oh my god, this is the worst timeline. Ha! Okay. Let me just change the team quick. You get paid... Oh, because you work for a family member. Fuck, man, that's so bullshit though. There should be like some kind of like insurance or whatever to help with that. You don't remember what it stands for? Everything costing more. Oh yeah, I can imagine. I heard about the potential... I don't want to call it load shedding, but I don't know what else to call it. What? That some places are going to be facing in UK, Europe, I think. Oh, we have Despair as well. Oh my goodness. Blessed. Despair, Deceit, and Garbage. Lovely names, to be honest. Okay, hold on, wait. I'm actually missing things. Lucy, it's... Oh man, it's insane. I can't, like, comprehend those amounts because, like, my currency is absolute garbage. And it means nothing, so... So the numbers are a bit hard to comprehend, but yeah, I can imagine that shit's a bit tough at the moment. It's been 84 years! I love saying that. I don't know why, but it sparks joy. Where's this fuck? Oh. I was like... I need to give this homie fruit or some shit. My name's Alex, if you don't... If I can remember to call you Alex, we'll see. Nat clearly has something on her mind. Yes, it's simply saying these nuts at the most inappropriate times. That's the only thing. And I need to, like, have the most self-control to not just yell out these nuts at inappropriate times. So, you know. Don't ban. The four horsemen of the apocalypse: deceit, garbage, despair, and Binby. Fucking Binby. Oh, nice carrot, dude. Oh, man. You gonna Loki's? Thank you, Vitrix. Take care. Yes, you can give hugs. Anyone can get a hug. Oh, I see. Okay, every 2 weeks. Damn, that's... That's more than some people make as a salary per month here, but I think your cost of living is much higher than ours is. So there's that as well to consider, but I know some teachers who are paid less than that. It's fucking bullshit, man. It's the most garbage. But yeah, like I said, I'm sure your cost of living is much higher. I'll try and stick Alex in the old noggin. Don't get your hopes up though. The only reason I know my own name is because my parents yelled it at me enough times during my childhood that I was like, ah, yes, this is my name. You know, like a dog. You shout a word at a dog often enough, they'll think it's their name. So yeah. Is it these guys? Hello! Oh, how dare you? The audacity. Yeah, that's what you get, you bitch. Anyway. That was your salary before lockdown, right? That's some cocoa bananas. You don't have to remember my name. No, but like, you know, I want to be able to call you something like that. It makes you feel like you're part of this channel, you know? Because like Lucy, I've known Lucy since God was a child. Not really, but close enough. And I call her Lulu, right? That's the nickname I've gotten for her. But honest deceit, you know, the contrast's a little bit like, how do I think of a nickname out of that? But like, my brain is literally just, it keeps on saying HD's nuts and I'm just like, no! Stop! I can't. And another fighting one. Hello! Goodbye! Oh, it actually did kill all of them. Fantastic. I wasn't expecting that. That's okay. Let's see. Also, guys, wait. Did I... Can I show you guys something? So I have that redeem. That big one. That's called Join the Posse. And it's on my starting screen. I don't remember if I put it on my ending screen as well now. But I don't want to give Hassan a heart attack. But... you see over here... this is Jargon. This is his name as well. So when you redeem Join the Posse, you get a little character of yourself made. And then you get to sit somewhere on the starting screen. And it should be on the ending screen as well, but I don't remember if I put it there. Oh, that's the old ending screen. Oh, there he is. There's Jargon! So he's on the ending screen and the starting screen. He's super big on the starting screen because I thought he'd look cute on the chair. But the Eevees are sleeping on it on the other one, so they had to strike a deal there. He gets it in the beginning. You see a Raiden figure? Yeah. There's Raiden, Diluc, Xiao, Ayaya, Baiju, Tari, and Zhongli. I want to make more. I just oh, wrong one. This one. I need to sort out my scenes. They're a bit of a mess at the moment. They're all over the place. Yeah, because I was doing it like for all the characters that I have, but I mean, we still don't have Baiju, and I made that thing ages ago. I thought he'd be in the game by now, to be honest. But soon! And by soon, I mean in several months, we'll have him. So, yeah. You want one IRL? Well, you see, that's why I have them as those pictures, because I am not going to be able to get them IRL. So I'll just have it as a little PNG in my collection. I commissioned all of those chibis, each one, from Kayla. I want to say most of the art on my channel has all been Kayla. So if you guys need emotes or anything, she actually just released today 3 Yai Miko emotes. And she'll be releasing an animated one too at some point, I think. And maybe a free one. I know she's got a couple free ones. Like she has a free Zhao one. I don't know if she has a free Yellen one. But she has some free emotes as well. Definitely no jargon IRL. But yeah, so that's the join the posse one. It's expensive, but for good reason. Because first of all, I gotta pay for it. Invulnerable to Geo, increased damage for... Okay, that one doesn't matter too much, but yeah. Yeah, and it can be like... It could be anything. Jargon wasn't sure what to have, so I gave him some ideas. And he was like, yes. Immediately, yes. You saving up for getting your own? Oh, 4? For what spec? Sorry. A statue? You want a Magu Kenki statue? Ooh. Man, he's such an annoying boss, though. I hate fighting him, and I refuse to fight him. Like, ow, you bastard. I refuse to fight him for no reason. But admittedly, he is one of the easier bosses to kill. Not gonna give me enough, I don't think. No, it's okay. Ow! Thank God, whoop! Thank God that Kokomi's heals pretty poggies. She keeps everyone alive because I'm an idiot. You have load shedding at 8? You're gonna head out and charge your stuff? Yes, definitely. Catch you next time on... Catch you on the next episode of Dragon Ball Z! You gotta say with oomph. Raiden boss statue. Oh my god, yes. Okay, that one is gorgeous though. 100%. I need one more bounty. The posse redeem. You're at 12.5. Gotta keep going. Gotta be on that grind, yo. It's yeah, I think it's timing. It's a special one. It's gotta be a special one. Cause yeah, then you get to be you're in my stream every day, even if you're not actually here. You can still be there. It's not the first time I've killed Tenari either, so you know, it'd be like that sometimes. Kokomi is best fish girl. She is a jellyfish princess. I have 2 jellyfish princesses actually. One in Warframe, and one in Genshin now as well. I keep thinking about Warframe and I really want to play it, but at the same time I don't. Because there's just way too much to do. You love it? I hate fighting him because I don't know the phases that well. So it's a guessing game. I just throw out attacks and hope that it actually hits him. Someone say Warframe. Hi, Despair. Yes. How are you doing? You have over 900 hours in Warframe? I'm curious how many I have. I'm opening Steam, but, you know, it's a little bit slow. Who's your favorite frame, Despair? Oh, there's a Halloween pack for Resident Evil. It's... What? So normally it's like 2.5 grand. It's like 800 now. That's madness, actually. Shit, bitch. Imagine Settlement Survival. That looks cute as hell. Imagine playing scary games though. I have 1072 hours in Warframe. My favorite frames are Trinity, Nova, Octavia, Titania. Yeah. You got the most usage on Ivara Prime. You're currently using Wisp. Oh, Wisp is good as well. I still don't have Hildren because I'm missing the materials from the fucking... What is his name? Profit Taker. I haven't fought Profit Taker before. So I don't have the shits I need for her. Her and Baruch and a couple others from that place that I can't remember the name of. Anyway. But yeah, obviously depends on what kind of content you're doing, but like Nova's like a good for everything kind of frame. So yeah. How you busted? One day I'll get good gear for Tenari. Today is likely not that day, but you know. Hello, do you wanna die? Yeah. I think I have the most playtime, to be fair, on Ivara. Simply because I use her for fishing, mining, what else is there? Some other stuff as well. I use her for a lot of things. Oh, shit. Bubble! Thank you for the bubbles! You have Mesa, Nova, and Trinity. Nice. Yeah, I mostly... I think I'm missing like 2 or 3 primes at this point. I don't remember how many have come out since I last played. But I have most of the primes. There's a lot of the base ones that I don't have simply because I need to do boss fights with people. And I don't have people to play with. Yeah, but my MR is pretty high, I think. I can't remember what it is now. But yeah, I don't know if I'd be able to play it on stream. I feel like my computer would have a hissy fit of note. You have 840 hours, but you played a bit not on Steam. Oh yeah, that's a bit annoying when it's spread over different things. How are you doing, Bubble? We might do boss fights on Wednesday, Bubble. If you wanna join for that shit. Ikimasho. Hildren is incredible if you set up mods on the hand cannon. Oh. Potentially infinite. Damn. I'll be honest, I've never even looked at Hildren. I have no idea what she's like. She just reminds me of Zarya from Overwatch, and that's all I see. So I've never looked into her. And there's oh, there was a free character that came out, but I missed it because someone told me after the time that the character was redeemable. I was like, why would you only tell me after the redeem time, you know? Feels bad, man. They were like, oh yeah, you could get this frame. And then I went and checked and it was like, this is no longer available. And I was just like, what the? Why would they tell me? Don't tell me I just don't have something that's time exclusive. Fuck. And Ray didn't tell me either. So I moaned at him. Been a hectic few weeks and mostly hiding away. Fair enough. Gorse? No, not Gorse. It's one that's like just come out. It was out last month, I think. I do have him though. He was annoying. I think he was just from like hella farming. But this is like an exclusive frame that you could only get as a Twitch drop, or you only got it during like a couple weeks or like a month or something. You literally just had to log into the game. That's all you had to do. And I was just like, fuck! So yeah. But yeah, to be fair, most of the frames that I do play will be like their abilities just support the gun that they use. The gun doing most of the damage, and then whoever. Because I mostly play the support frames, I'm like there to keep people alive or to buff them or whatever the case may be. Because support is my shit, yo. That's what I enjoy doing. Helping other peoples. Alright, so... I don't have resin. Oh, this is in my inventory now. It wasn't before. But the other thing that sucks about Warframe is you stop playing it for a while, then you come back to it, and then all of your weapons that were really good are now shit. Like before, I used what is it called? Reaper. Was it Reaper? The Scythe? And I had a really good, what is that purple mod called? Those ones that keep changing. Like the affinity of them changes or whatever, and then they become like shit. I have no idea. My brain's just not working. Anyway, I had a really good one on it. And now it's like not so good. It's gone down since I played, so that kind of sucks. Oh, this is what I was looking at. So I can make 14 of these. And I have... I never remember where these are. I only have 5. Yeah, there's no point in making now. Because I can't level it up, so... Unless I went looking for things. I do have lots of story to do though, like goddamn. So I'm just gonna work my way through stories, I think. Is there... Oh wait, we have the same BP. Ugh, gross. I forgot. I've been sitting here like, oh yeah, I need to do my dailies, my weeklies, blah blah blah. It's done. BP is done. I don't need to do shit, man. Okay, it's fine. Let me just go get stuff in the teapot and then we can fuck off. Rep BP. BP's done. How you doing, fishes? Are you good? 690, nice. Boop it. Boop it. I'm running out of characters for friendship. I don't know what to do now. Cole's... I wonder if she'll be done before... Even Tai Tai. I wonder if they'll be done before Nahida comes out. Whee! Do not... Dory is level 2 simply because she does dailies. That's the only reason she's got levels on her. It's insane. Excited for 3.2? Right? Oh my goodness. Did you watch the live, fishes? Did you get the codes? I think they're expired now, but... But yeah, it's very exciting. And Layla as well. You want to buy a Magu Kenki figure? A statue, but you can't find. Do you know if they exist? Are they a thing? I didn't plant anything? That's weird. Oh no, it is planted. Okay. I was like, no ways. Yeah, I'm super excited for Nahida. Anybody who knows me knows that I am a Dendro main now. So... You have no idea? Yeah, I guess. I'll be honest, I feel like I've never seen one. Just like I've never seen one for, like, the wolf, or the frog, or, you know, any of the other bigger bosses. You'll probably find that there's people who can, like, custom make it, but sure, you pay out your schnoot for that, especially Magu Kenki. He's so, like, detailed. Welcome back, Cupcake! You got some premium trash with you. What did you get, homie? Hope you got the good. Yeah, let's go do this one. S tier premium trash. Porgies. There's Porgy Woggies. Where is this? I'm blind! Hello, my eyeballs, can you work? There we go. I ended up having steers tonight because of the power being out. Hi, Mr. Gava. Can I ask you a question? You can, but whether or not I answer it is an entirely different story. I saw some waffles off another raccoon who was. Oh my goodness! You got waffles? You got a sponsorship from Genshin Impact / Streamlabs? You're confused? Never played this game. I don't know how to play it on PC. It's only no. You can play on PC. You can play on PlayStation. You can play on mobile. You can play it on all the things. It's a open world RPG game. It's a lot of fun. How do you play on PC? You can download it. No, not even BlueStacks. You can just download it on PC. It's a PC game as well. So you just go to the website. I think it's just GenshinImpact.com. And you download it from there. No worries, Mr. Gava. Okay, my brain stopped working. What was I doing? I need to change my team. That's what I was doing. Epic Games? Oh yeah, it's on Epic Games as well. I didn't have it on Epic Games though, because I already had the game. No worries, Mr. Gava. Enjoy. It's my favorite game, so yeah. Big recommend. I hope it goes well. I assume this is where I need to be. Yeah. Dendro! It might be from a Dendro Hilichurl. Yeah, sure. that seems likely. Oh man. The Hilichurl stole from them? That's so sad. Poor little babies. Ding dong! The first few pages contain very small and scribbled writing. Ooh, I can't believe there is a Nara willing to be Arashakun's friend. Oh my god, that's too fast! Ah, panic! Good Nara covered Arashka. Arashka was frightened by a leaf that fell on his head. Good Nara's Arashakun's friend forever. The handwriting becomes tinier and more flustered in the following pages. Oh no, Nara friend was taken by Furry Mask Demon King. It has such long arms, so scary. Didn't say anything earlier, but the hair is looking so cool. Thank you! I did it today, because it was, like, quite washed out, and I was like, no, it must be bright purple. And now it is. So we're gonna go save someone now? From the Furry Mask Demon King. Oh, no, okay, they're good, they're good. Nara friend gave Arishkan courage. Arishkan is not the same old timid Arishkan anymore. Arishkan has courage now and bravely fought the furry mask monsters. No Nara nearby will ever have to worry about getting bullied by the furry mask monsters again. The handwriting shrinks back down in the latest pages. Oh no, how did this happen? Arishkan's courage is missing. The courage Nara gave to Arishkan. It must be stolen by the furry mask demon king. Furry mask demon king! Arms very long, very scary, but Arishkan can do nothing after losing his courage. Arishkan will go looking for it in the cave to the east. What does this mean? I'm so confused. It's too fast, then you get me who skips all dialogue just to get back to fighting everything. I mean, you know, I want to know some of the story. Ooh, I hear thunder. Boy. Our little Paimon's having trouble reading those small letters. Hey! Paimon reads letters in normal size just fine, thank you. Paimon's just not used to reading tiny letters, that's all. Did this Arishaka not return after writing these most recent pages? You might also hear fireworks. Oh, it's actually fire. Oh yeah, it's Diwali! Happy Diwali to anyone who celebrates. I forgot about that. I think it might be fireworks. Yeah, that's not thunder. We did have Hello Thunder earlier. You know what's very strange? And I just realized this now. For the last couple of years, almost every Diwali it's been raining. Which is quite nice. Because we need that fucking rain. And it's kind of like, you know it's gonna rain. Amazon has other stuff, just not... Ah. Yeah, I wouldn't even know where to look to see if someone would custom make something like that. Let's check out the cave to the east. Yeah, bitch, let's go. Oh, I got hiccup. Just one. Okay, he said cave to the east. This one? It must be that one, right? There's a cave here? Wait, what? Was this always here? Oh my god. I don't think I've ever seen this before. Hi, guys!
Boots and cats and 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 boots and cats.
Nice. I don't think I've heard that one before. Did this cave just open up, actually? Because I've been looking for this one Dendroculus for the longest time. Ah, little baby up there. How do I get up there? This is likely not the intended route up, but, you know. Oh, there's even mushrooms in here? Ah! You bastard. Oh, what? Oh, I just need to save him from the slime. Don't come so close so quickly. Arishkin's very grateful to you two for saving me, but I must still request that you keep a certain distance. We just rescued you, homie! I'm sorry. Sorry for my rude request. Sorry for angering you. But I've been trapped here and I haven't settled down yet. Please forgive me. Oh, why are we being so harsh? Paimon, what the fuck, man? Marish can get your names. Paimon! And Morgan. Golden, Nara, Morgan, and Paimon. So how come you know Arishkin's name? Or read it in your journal at the house. Golden haired Nara Morgan read the journal and came looking for Arishkin. Arishkin! Then rescued trapped Arishkin. Nara is so kind and so powerful. This guy saying his name like 20 times is grinding my gears over here. What do you mean by missing courage? Okay, so he's a big chicken. And then he had a friend who never teased him. But then he got kidnapped. Furry Masked Demon King is a furry demon king wearing a mask. 10 out of 10. It's like, I don't know if you guys, when you were in school, if you did biology or anything. Where's my music, by the way? I just realized now it stopped playing. I was like, why are we sitting here in silence? Naresh token. Is that his son? If you had to write a definition for a word, you were not allowed to use the word in your definition. And, yeah, that was an example of an answer that would not have been accepted by the teacher. Yeah, so my students try and do that now sometimes with me, and I'm like, okay, but how about you define the word without using it? And then they're like, oh. That's a very Aranara answer. I mean, it's obviously a hilly chill. Okay, so he was worried about getting beaten up, but more worried about losing his friend. You tried very hard, used your hand, and you saved your Nara friend. Yay! Your Nara friend made a talisman of courage. Ah. GG's, Hassan. Google does that sometimes. Oh, where it gives you a definition with the actual word in it. Yeah, I've seen it as well. And then I'm like, how do I explain this? Because suddenly I can't remember the meaning of the word. But I need to try and explain it. Don't we have the talisman of courage? Is that not the thing that we found? It's entirely possible. Can I just not give it back to him? Pandemic? Oh, pedantic. Pedant? I've never heard that. Natutu Butitu? What? What? Hassan, you just making up words now? Don't GG's me after you say something weird. What are you on about, sir? Excuse me? Look how cute he looks with his little flower. It's like a bow tie. Did you dye your color to... Hassan, this is purple. My son, I'm going to fight you. I'm actually going to fight you. This is purple. Maybe it's hard to see, but it's purple. Go look on Instagram or Twitter. You're colorblind? Oh yeah, that's true actually. Don't we know it, Hassan? You want Arashikun? I don't know if you can get one. You can definitely talk to him with the quest. The orange hoodie makes it look more purple. I mean, that's because it is purple. It is purple. And I wore the purple, I wore the orange hoodie today because it would contrast with the purple. Because I knew if I wore black, it would just kind of wash out a little bit and wouldn't be very visible. Unfortunately, I like wearing black, so most of my clothing is black. Makes it a little bit difficult. You need a friendly plant homie? There's lots of these little dudes in the game, Cupcake. I know that there was an event a while ago where you could essentially make your own. So like, I'll show you the pieces for it. I don't think they might bring it back in the future, but like you can't get it anymore. But yeah, you could make your own. They're like little wooden sculptures. So there's the body, there's the heads. These are the eyes. And then they had a whole bunch of different hats. And capes as well. It's very fucking cute. Your AR-24 ass is behind. Oh no! Yeah, I don't think he would have done it, Fishes. But yeah, there was an event a while ago where you could make your own. DIY that shit. Ha! Iko! Get in my belly. Yeah, that's it. There's a couple mushrooms in here though, so that's nice. I think you only actually needed to complete the Leo story to start it. Yeah, but I think, I don't think Cupcake's very, like, much of an active player. Why you walk away from me? Let's go, Spoopy Spoop. There is an unbelievable amount of underground in this game. Holy shit. Oh. Well, he didn't last very long. I was still stuck in the cutscene when the guy died, so I'm glad. If your Yaya wasn't slapping... Why has she got electro dongs? It's obviously butt cheeks, Jargon, not dongs. Because she be clapping that lightning, you know? You know what I'm saying? You picking up what I'm putting down? I'm over the reading in case you guys haven't noticed. Okay, he's gonna take care of his flower this time. That's the conclusion to the story. He's gonna take care of his flower. That's all we really needed to know, yeah? That's fine. A potato for me? Gee, thanks. A potato. Oh, there's so much stuff in here. What the hell? Boop. You stinky bastard. What the hell? Who's making big splashies? Oh, is Hitty Trolls down there? They don't want peace, they want problems always. Okay, either someone's setting off bombs or that was actually thunder. Could you guys hear us? I can't hear very well because of my headset, but... Whoa. 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 The fuck? What was that? Noise. Goodbye, loot. Hi, Jack Daniels. I'm doing good. How are you? Hope you had a good Monday. Please give mushrooms. Is it? Aha. What? There's more down. Oh, God. This place is huge. Ooh. Is there a boy? You want me to do it? Sky's coming to sit with me. Where is my other camera, actually? I wonder. Thanks, Bubs. Alright, I just need to sort out Sky for a second. He's just eating loads of treats now. But yeah, let me just... Because that's thunder. Hello, my boy. Yeah, come lay down. Yeah, come. It's okay. Lay down. Lay down. I don't know where my other camera is. Yo! Okay, that's actually thunder. Mentally preparing yourself for your 21st? Oh my goodness! Spring chicken! Happy birthday for tomorrow, if I don't remember. Damn! You must enjoy. You guys hearing that shit? What is this? Oh shit! I didn't know where that stuff went. It was stuff that I bought at Comic-Con. Here's a tie-tie. This whole time I had no idea where it went. Behold my stuff! I found my stuff. Okay, I have a camera somewhere for Sky. Let's see if I can find it. Sorry, buddy.
참치면 어떠하리 광어면 어떠하리 삼치면 어떠하리 상어면 어떠하리 내 낚싯대를 물어주어 그때 마침 잠시 내게 형형 나 좀 데려가요
Ayo!
Handset jargon 1674.
Ayo! Was that a gift, Suppy? Or I'm so confused. Thank you, Yoda. 13 months. Damn, homie. Thank you. GG's. How you doing, Yoda? I don't know where my other webcam is, guys. I know I have one. I just don't know where I put it. My head in the cupboard. Oh, Jesus.
Would you like a cup of water?
Cause
You look thirsty as fuck right now.
Do I look thirsty? I'll take a sippy now. And also stretchy. Is it cold in SA? It is. You can hear the thunder, right? It's booming. We've had a lot of rain, so it's cold at the moment. Yeah. Happy Diwali, Yoda! I hope you had some. The weather says Happy Diwali as well. She lives in a dollhouse. What the fuck, jargon? You look tall in the camera. The sun. Oh my gosh. Oh, baby. I don't know where the fuck I put it, guys. I wish I could. I wish I could remember. It's lost to the abyss. Anyway. My boy is not happy. Just know that Sky is here. I can just show you guys. Random table. Okay. Don't look at the camera for a bit. Because it's gonna be moving. But there's my boy. Looking terrified because he hates thunderstorms. Hey Lulu. Hi sausage. Lulu. Shame. My poor boy. Oh, he's not happy. You good? No, it's fine. Earlier today, it was thundering so badly, and he was like literally sitting like right behind me, behind my chair. It was cute, but also a little bit sad because he's scared. Anyway. Hi, Llama Llama! Sorry if I missed any messages. Okay, I gotta hydrate. I'm drinking Lucozade because that's definitely something that you hydrate with, yeah? Yo! I'm gonna miss this when I move to Cape Town. But yeah, we've got insane thunderstorms in Johannesburg. Hey baby bear! What's up? You don't wanna lay on the blankie? You did. You want me to remove the blankie? I'm fine. Are you good? He's not a happy boy. Why don't you lay down like this? Lay down like this. Yeah. Okay. I think he's okay now. Your baby isn't happy either, oh man. Poor babies. Yeah, he used to be fine with storms. We don't know what happened. Just one day he got really scared. And he came and hid behind me. I know I used to be anxious about storms. But, yeah, because Sky's now anxious about them. I'm like, okay, must resist, must be strong for Sky, you know? So, yeah. Now I don't feel anxious, but he does. I'm just like, my poor boy. Send GG's to Sky. GG's, Lulu. Yeah, he's laying down now. I think he's okay. It's just started raining, so maybe that'll help him feel better. What did we get? Oh, it's like a cart. Heh. Kind of boring. Kind of disappointing, not gonna lie. Yeah, I'm not going anywhere. Lay down. He heard me moving and he was like, where are you going, beach? Oh, I'll take that, thank you. If I missed any messages, apologies. Yoda, did you have anything special today? Because I know there's a lot of sweet food. At least when I was at school. Wait, why is it not working? Oh, there we go. That was weird. There was nothing in there. My disappointment is immeasurable and my day is ruined. We always used to get, like, sweets and stuff from a friend of ours. And they were always amazing. Is anything up there? This is where we were before, yeah? There is something up there. This storm is fucking insane. Can it relax? This is where we came from, so we need to go the other direction. Okay. Did I go in the butt crack? Yes, I did go in the butt crack. Okay, we're good, we're good. Whoops. I think I've been everywhere here now. Was there anything else? I had no idea. Hey, Poopstick! You good? He's just laying there looking sad. Hi, Samurai! Hello, hello. How are you doing? Yoda, are you going for Miko? When her banner comes out? When her rerun? Ooh. Wait, did I actually finish this quest? I did. Okay, cool. We can go do this one then. Bum bum! My poor boy. Fireworks alert. Oh. I just want to take a picture to put on Discord. So my dog doesn't like laying on things, like beds or anything. Even like a very thin blanket, he's like, nope. So he's like laying on the edge of the blankets. You forgot to redeem Yoda, no! Oh. The most Pepega! The most Pepega, Yoda! Goodness. I'm doing good, Samurai. Today wasn't a bad day. It's Monday though, so that kind of sucks. But I'm able to stream. We have an insane thunderstorm going on at the moment. You might be able to hear the thunder. And yeah, we're just chilling. My dog is sitting with me as well because he's scared of thunder. So yeah, I posted a picture of Sky on the Discord. If anybody wants to go see, he's laying as much off the blanket as he possibly could. He just slowly crept his way off of it because for whatever reason he just doesn't like laying on things. He just wants to lay on the tiles. I'm like, bro, please. How is that comfortable? The gloomy path. It says down. Pissed off the Eremites down there. Is it there? That little entrance? I see a little cave entrance there, but... Oh, it's further down. Yeah, I forgot to do the other redeems. The previous one. I posted them in the Discord and they never redeemed them myself, so that was great. Also, Yoda, do you know when the next streamer event thing is happening? Because I didn't know about the last one and I missed it. So I'm bummed about that, but if I can get the next one, that would be cool. I don't know if you've heard anything. I keep checking the app, but I haven't seen anything yet. How have I never been in here? Did these places only open up because of the quest? Or have I just actually never been in here? Like wait, I think I have been in here before. I didn't finish the quest though. I vaguely remember this. Quests do open up a lot of the underground. Yeah, that makes sense then. Why are women so bad at driving? Because they were taught by men. Cupcake! No! The audacity. Oh my goodness. Ah, that was so good. Oh no. Can't believe you said that. It's raining a lot here by me with thunder and crackers. Don't know how that works. Your doggers are with you? Oh, sorry to hear that. Yeah, my pupper is also, he's with me because, oh shit. He's with me because of the thunder. Yeah, he's never far away whenever there's lightning, so yeah, he lays behind me. Not this shit again. Stop saying cannot use in current state. Yeah, he is safe. Shame. I don't know why, but he's chosen me as like his designated people when there's a thunderstorm. Even though he literally sits in the room with my boyfriend the entire day. Will sit like right behind his chair. And when there's a thunderstorm, he'll come sit with me like right behind my chair. It's very cute, but at the same time, a little bit sad. Because poor baby. No music? No bitches? No music? I do have music playing. It's just maybe very soft at the moment. Watch it get really loud again. Oh, hello. Am I supposed to be going... Am I supposed to be doing this? Probably not. Can't climb up there, can I? But can I climb up the tree? Am I supposed to... Oh, no music while running. Yeah, but my actual music was playing really softly just now as well. Now it's like, hello! I'm loud. Again. Hi, Chris. Christopher, Jamestopher, 69. 89. Fuck. Wrong number! You gotta change your name now, Chris! No, guys, I broke the puzzle. You gonna change it? There's an invisible roof here. Cool. Well, who needs to do the puzzle? When you can just tease it, yeah? I wonder, maybe there's stuff in the other things. I wanna go check. DJ and Tato confirmed. Now it's you guys, man. What's quote 69 on this channel? Okay, there was something in there, and then this one. Can I turn that one? No. Can I turn this one? No. I can't do shit. Why is there music going there? Nice. How are you doing, Chris? Did that do anything? Is this one glowing now? Whoa! Ooh. So this is the proper way to solve this. Not the way I did it, obviously. Oh. Or not? Did I... The heck? Did I go too far? I'm so confused. What do you mean? What do you mean? Oh no! Yoda, what the heck, man? Why is your name orange? That confused the fuck out of me. You guys know I'm easily confused. You can't do this to me. Does this just take us back to the beginning? Or where am I? Don't be changing colors. You guys know I have trouble recognizing you if you're different colors. Got that small brain, you know. Smooth brain. No, Hassan, that's my color. I know you ain't stealing your mama's color. Oh my goodness. Oh, the jogging emote and the banhammer. Blessed. Joggin's talking to himself. Oh no. Wait, what was I forgot I was actually doing something. Find the solution. Eh? I am not smart. So this is where we went in, right? There was a thing somewhere up here. And we just went back through it. This is fine. You missed Yoda's message when he said hi to Chris because it was sandwiched in your messages. Oh! Oh, that's so funny. You see, it's like your brain just autopilots. So the solution's here? So do I have to rearrange these things in a certain way? They all move? That one doesn't. So do I have to unlock that one to get it to move? Somehow? Yo, I'm hacking this bullshit. Oh wait, there's another music. Do I play this one? And not the Yoda sandwich I'm looking for. What does that even mean, Joggin? What does it mean? Also, hi Amy! Hello, hello! How are you? Ah. How would I know what the solution is, though? This is fucking weird. Let's see if I can get back on top. Then I can look. Why did Yaya's one work? There we go. Oh no, it did. Oh man. I have no idea what I'm supposed to be doing here. They're all glowing. Joggin! Nani the fuck? I'll beat you. I said ooh, which cancels all sus. Does it really? So I can be like, these nuts, ooh, and then it just cancels the these nuts? Is that how that works? Apparently it's a color shuffle day, fishes, apparently. You guys are a bloody mess. All of you. motherfuckers. Change your colors back. This was my color at first. That's Nightbot colors. You got Nightbot colors, Yoda? Okay. So this points here. Can I get an awa? Does anyone know how to solve this? Because I don't know if I'm missing something or what. Like, I have no idea how to figure out which direction they're meant to face. Oh! What the f— Okay, never mind. Awa! I have no idea. That gave me such a fright. Trying to remain composed over here. You're the go-to guy when people are stuck in Genshin. You can't be asking us. Fuck, man. Is this an academic study? It has to be, right? Looks like lots of crawling bugs. Yuck. My goodness. Yeah, the only thing is like... That's what you get. Oh my god. Are you done? Are you sure? Hassan's not done. You guys don't want peace, you want problems always. Wait. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna put a timer on that if you guys don't stop. Beehive yourselves. It's sold out. Of course it is. Because y'all spammed it. That's what you get. Honestly, I should have a timer. Not me sitting here like trauma response waiting for it to go off again. Just like bracing myself mentally for it to play again. No more spam, I agree. No more spam is too much. It loses its oomph. Sweet silence, right? You have a gun? Wait, what do we need a gun for? Y'all can suck a butt. Oh, you turned it off, Jargon. Thank you. Thank you for saving me from these little monsters. How many points for a longer version? All of your points, fishes. That shit ain't happening. This is why we can't have nice things? Yeah. That's technically why I've got timers on a lot of my things, so that people don't spam them. But his son is a fan of his spamming, I guess. What is this guy on about? You still have bubbles? Yeah, you can spam bubbles. I don't think bubbles bothers anyone too much. Has spammer banana? Yeah. That's your new nickname, Hassan. No longer Hasana Banana, you're Hispama Banana. You have a penguin with a gun? Oh shit. I have a penguin sitting behind me. Do you guys spot him? He's on my other chair. Thank you, Lulu. Sheesh. Two penguins and an otter? Is that kitty otter? It is! So much violence. Kaiser fell over. No, he's just on the chair. He's like sitting on, he's like holding like on the back of the chair. Oh, I'm not gonna lie, I haven't been following the story at all. Oh my god, I started this quest so long ago and I forgot about it. I woke up and discovered it in my bag. Ah, the pupper! You're at your cousin's house? Oh, don't disturb your cousins, Yoda, with the noise from the stream. Ah, that's so cute! So potita! You need a snack? Oh man, I don't have any snacks currently. All I remember about this quest is that this guy is doing research of some kind. I don't really know what exactly it is he's researching, but it's got something to do with the Aranara and the robots, I think. Yeah, I really struggle to follow the story for these ones where they don't have like any spoken parts. They're talking about me getting married, so I'm hiding in a room. Oh my god, Yoda, run! Everybody wants to pilot the Gundam. You do get to at some point. There's quests that you have to do. Where you have to... I think it was the stuff before I got to this. There was stuff that I did before this. Don't know if it was like a separate quest or something. It's time, G-Max. The year is almost up, yeah? The Gundam in the desert is much meaner. It is! Oh my goodness. Alright, so... Yeah, I think, thank you, Peanut. I think our generation's very different with regards to... What's poppin'? Don't mind me just watching. Thank you, Peanuts. I hope you're having a good evening. Yeah, our generation just doesn't really seem to, I don't know, be that fussed about marriage, to be honest. Mom said you're too old to get married now. You just need to stay single. And that hurt worse than the annoying question, when are you getting married? How? What? Chris, you're not that old. What is her cutoff age for marriage? Hello? Aren't you younger than me? Or about the same age? I'm pretty sure you can't be that much older if you're older. No ways. No ways. You wouldn't even marry your crush? Just not interested, Yoda? I assume it's down here. What's marriage? Can I eat it? Exactly. That's all millennials care about. Can I eat it? Even the Zoomers. The Zoomers are like, oh, can I eat it? None of us want to get married. We just want to eat. You're 33? Okay, so you're a bit older than me. Oh wait, the 89 makes sense now. I agree with her. I don't want to get married. But she didn't have to say it. I narrowly escaped getting married. Dodged a bullet there. Mao, you did. Oh my goodness. Did I show you she tagged me in something the other day and I was just like... This is awkward. Hasn't spoken to me in a long time, but tagged me in a thing. In my brain, I was just like... You know, like that polite cat. That was my face. I feel like you know. Oh shit! She's giving you shit about picking up some of her stuff. Oh yeah? Then she must just pick it up. What the heck? You should have tagged Mao in the comments. Oh hell no. I would never do that to Mao. You've been married for 10 years. You refuse to act your age. I mean, fair enough, fishes. Whatever makes you happy. If you found happiness in marriage, then it's all good. I'm the only one. I have no idea. What are you talking about, Cupcake? I have no idea. You got married because of the passport situation? I mean, yeah, but you and Ben were together for a lifetime before that anyway, so you know. The marriage thing was kind of just like a formality, I reckon, because you guys were together like literally the entire time that I've known you, and then some, I think. So, yeah. You'll probably be heading to Brian Lara's on Wednesday. I won't be able to, Moombas. I have a job. So I can't be going out at night. Tell Natato and I. Now everybody wants to know. Oh, shit! I was not prepared for this. But this is actually fine. For the most part. Because, Kokomi-chan! Slapper! Big slapper! Wait, there's more? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. That's some mad shit. Okay, anyway. We'll make plans next time. Yeah, sorry, Moombas. Yeah, stuff just hasn't been convenient time-wise. Your keyboard battery is dying. So if I disappear, just know I love you. I love you too, Amy. Y'all just have to wait. Oh no, Yoda's being summoned. Oh, bye Yoda. We miss you already, friend. I hear we're planning D-Max's wedding. A beach wedding? Are you saying that because you're a hydro boy, or... Sending love, doing a drive-by. Thank you so much, Rusty. I hope you're having a wonderful evening. I hope the storm's not too bad for you and your fandom. But yeah, thank you for the love, Rusty. Take care of yourself. Yeah, poor Yoda. let's not bug Yoda too much, especially because I think he's disappeared now. You guys made him run away. That's the problem. Gonna go watch a movie. No worries, Hassan. It's fine. It's fine. Jargon put the ban on you, so it's okay. But yes, enjoy your movie, Hassan. Honestly, didn't even think of that. Clearly, my mind is hella drawn to water. Yeah, the thing is, Hydro Boy, I'm pretty sure the last time you came to my stream, you also like immediately redeemed Hydrate, and I was like, is it because he's Hydro Boy? Is that his thing? You can't believe it. GG's, Hassan. Beach wedding sounds bad if the wind comes up. That's a lot of sand. Yeah, right? It depends on where you go, though, because I feel like PE Beach would probably be one of the worst ones. The wind, it's called the Windy City for a reason. And that shit fucking stings. When the wind blows and you're at the beach in Port Elizabeth, aha, go home. Don't even waste your time. The wind is not going to settle. It is going to blow until you leave, and then blow some more. That place is awful. It's nice if there's no wind. But as soon as there's wind, just leave. Just go home. It's okay. Just make peace with that. I don't really know what's going on here, but it's okay. I've made the hydrate thing my thing. However, someone had a thing for funny or punny pickup lines. One of my favorites I used was pointed out to me to be about water. It's a thing! Can I have a rainforest wedding? Scare all my guests away so I can have a private day? I mean, yes. But what if some people aren't scared away? What if some people are like excited by the prospect? Hee hee. Hee hee. Come on. He he he. Then have to invite a tiger. I feel like that's the only way you're gonna get peace at a forest wedding. Hey Lolly. You good? You go, my boy. Same. He just sighed. I wish I knew where my other camera was, though. Fuck. That's so annoying. I'm trying to think, when was the last time I saw it? I cleaned up my desk a while ago. But I honestly don't remember where I would have put that other mic. Ugh, that other camera. But also marriage, ew. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's like such a... It's like... I don't know. Literally just have not thought about it. I really, well and truly don't think our generation's all that interested in marriage. Wait, where the fuck am I? Oh wait, I have been here before, I think. So wait, is that quest... Guys, did I just... No! Curses, I'm finishing quests. I mean, that's what I need to do, but I don't want to. Shit. This is fine. Guess we'll go back here to finish this quest. You're old-fashioned? I mean, it's fine. It's fine if you want to get married. As long as it's what you want to do, and you're not being pushed into it. No power at home? Wait, so Yoda, are you leaving your cousin's house just to have no electricity? Is that what's happening? Because that kind of sucks. The alternative is staying there and having your cousins talk to you about marriage, though, so... What's the lesser evil in that situation? What do you think? Try to unlock the rooms located deep within. Alright. Let's go see. If the day comes and it's a thing for me, cool. If not, that's also okay, right? Whatever happens, happens. There's no timeline or anything like that. I know that, my students... where do I need to go for this? Up? Oh, hello. What's this? My students, because they're Chinese, there's like a lot of societal pressure for them. Whoa, Jesus. To like get married by a certain age and start a family and all kinds of stuff. And I'm just like, damn, homie. I had one student, she was like my age. And she's like, yeah, I'm getting too old. And I was just like, girl? Okay, so I don't need to be here. I need to go up. Is this outside? Am I just straight up missing something? That is in fact not a door at all. We're planning your wedding. We don't need electricity. It has to be something outside, right? Because there's nothing inside here. Yeah, I think it's outside. Wait, but how the fuck do I get outside? Do I have to... Oh my god. Runs from so far away. This is fine. Your dad got married at 36? Damn! That's surprising. My parents got married really young. And then got divorced. They only got married because my mother got knocked up though, so, you know, not very smart of them. You can handle the drinks, Hydro Boy, how's that? I don't know where this is going, but I'm gonna take it. Because it's free travel, basically. Now it's pointing down. Oh my goodness, give me peace. You're fighting off 5 aunties here about marriage. To make me fight. Oh no. I'm very confused about this. Do I need to go down somewhere? I know I didn't have clearance for a bunch of this stuff before. Do I have it now though? You didn't have enough clearance. Kiss my ass. Reading helps? Oh yeah, for sure. Do I want to read though? Oh wait, I can't actually see it. I thought the glowy thing would give me something. Benny Boken! What you doing, homie? I don't wanna read. But the alternative is not figuring this shit out, so... I've already done this, so it can't be this, right? This is undeniably for that down there. Okay. This doesn't tell me anything. Cool, I'm so glad. It has to be underground, right? The ones from Bum? Wait, what? I haven't had Red Bull since Comic-Con. Damn. Wait, this quest is almost entirely underground. Really? So we thought... Oh. Is it this? Boken da Boken! Oh, Spatsu! I see. That's fine, we figured it out. Thank you, fishes. Oh, there's a guy here. Hello! Just Lumine casually dropping a 20k bomb. You know, it's fine. Thanks, girlie. She doesn't even have good gear on her yet. What is this? Okay, not reading that. So wait, Yoda, were you supposed to get... you were supposed to get, NRG drinks from Bum? You didn't get them? Click. Whoa. Okay. Interesting. That opens the... Ah? What do you mean, failed? The door's open. Am I missing something? Yoda's a friendly and gentle and maliceless. A friendly, gentle, and malice reminder that you have a green sword and don't have to put up with anything you don't want to. Yes, that is true. That is very true. But I think, Am I missing something? Because there's other thingies here. Did that change anything? Lily Chen, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the posse. Am I... Oh wait, there's multiple... Oh my god. Is that what My brain though! My brain's confusioned. Anyway... Yeah, I think Yoda knows he can stop this, he can stop the nonsense if he wants to. What is my brain doing besides not working? This is cool. This is fine. Where's the guy though? There's a guy somewhere here. Do I have permission? I do not. That's fine. We'll come back for it, I guess. That's very much Lada's problem. Also, nice fucking boomer emote there, Chokin. Is that his boomer one? Oh no, that's the sip one. It looked a little bit like the boomer one. Boomer as boomer. You're not mean to D-Max, you just pick on him because you care. You know what? It's that same thing of like, oh yeah, you know, little kids who bully each other in school. It's because they have a crush. That's such a weird thing to teach kids though. Don't be mean. If you like someone, don't be mean to them. Be nice to them. Isn't that the point of liking someone? So that you could be nice to them? Hey lollipops. Are you good? I think the thunder's stopped. Jargon's a boomer? They have a literal daddy in the game. Keep moving along. It's worse than Scotland. The first sign of love is hitting. Oh my goodness. Just straight up physical abuse. You're like, fuck your shit, man. Well and truly. Why have I still got Benny Boo out? Thank you. This is why we have fuckboys. From a young age to be assholes. Yeah, definitely. What are those? Is there another fucking scorpion, bro? Give me peace. Get that vape on. Genshin Uwu Impact! Thank you for the follow. Welcome to the posse. I don't know why, but the notifications are not showing. Lucy is super mean to me. Should I be worried? Oh, I think so, actually. She hasn't hit you yet, though, so I think you're okay. I think you should be worried if she hits you. How the frick frack knick knack tic tac paddywhack? Am I supposed to get? Oh, that's never mind. Never mind. This is fine. We got it. 10 out of 10. Hi, Genshin Uwu Impact. Hello, how are you? Thank you for the confettis. Hi, Sky. Jet's dad is great. Yeah, I agree. Jet's daddy is great. Is there anything else in here? Is it fine to go down? Will I be able to get back up? There's also a scorpion that wants to kick my ass for whatever reason. Woo!
GG's Tato.
GG's Hassan. Are you watching your movie yet, Hassan? Did you pick a movie? You're waiting for the homies? Oh, what are you guys gonna watch? I'm only mean to my fam and close friends. Oh my goodness, Jargon, you're close friends with Lulu? That's so sweet. Right, so that made a big old whooshy whooshy, but what am I supposed to do with the whooshy whooshy? I have no idea. Thank you for the bubbles, Lily. Oh, did I just time that? I have no idea. I have no idea what's going on here. What's poppin'? Don't mind me just watching. Thank you, Amy. Is your keyboard is your keyboard dead? I'm so confused. Did I not unlock the rooms? Give me free loots. You should watch Gilmore Girls because it's GG. That definitely sounds exactly like something Hassan would want to watch. So wait, I just went through those side rooms thinking that was what I was supposed to be doing. And yet we are no closer to figuring shit out. I must be missing something, yeah? I don't have clearance for that. Is there like another quest that I need to do to get clearance? Does anyone know? I thought I actually did something there. I didn't do anything. Is it good? It's an old show. I don't think it's a very good show personally. I've watched some of it and I was just like, every 5 seconds I was just rolling my fucking eyes. But you know, to each their own. Yeah, we all like different things. It's not for everybody. I don't know if you would enjoy it, Hassan. I know I personally didn't care for it that much. I'm so confused. I did this thing already. Why is it still... Eh? BTS K-drama. BTS is... I guess is TV, but like... I want fucking shit that's gonna make me laugh. Gilmore Girls is just so much... huffin' and fluffin'. It's the same as fucking... What's that other one? Housewives. And, I watch shows with people. Oh, one thing that I do like a lot. Period pieces. I can't tell you why. But like, what is that other one that I watched? Man, I watched it with my ex's mom, like, years ago. So much fucking drama. But like, not modern day drama. I live in the modern day. I don't want to deal with modern day drama. Give me drama about who's marrying who. And, someone's ankle is exposed. I'm not saying it's like Housewives. I'm saying I don't care for it as much as I don't care for Housewives. That's what I was saying. That is what I was saying. I care for it as little. Both shows. I care for it this much. 0. 0. Both 0. I didn't say that the shows are alike. I was talking about how much I care for them. Which is 0 in both cases. I have watched them. It's just not my jam. I'm honestly missing something here. I must be, because there's nothing there. But this one, I don't know where this one was. Because I don't think I went up. Oh! Wait, can I release this? Oh my god, I'm gonna go cry now. Why was it showing the marker? Oh! What a pain in my ass. Anyway. They're a bit more confusing than they normally are. I only like 3 things, Jargon. That's a lie. There's definitely other things that I enjoy as well. As I just said. Wait, where was this one? It's by the door, yeah? Yes! Fucking, why you put the marker up there, you shit game? Why you do this to my heart? I can't handle this. Be more clear with your instructions, please. I'm not very smart. I love this game, but I'm not very smart. You gotta be kind with small brain. Why did my music stop again? Yes, I am still listening to this, YouTube, you nonsense. Hannah Montana? I never watched Hannah Montana. I'd watch like random episodes at a friend's house because I didn't have the paid TV channel that you needed to watch it, so I never watched any of that shit. Anyway, did I miss anything after I was ranting about being misunderstood there about what I was saying? The miscommunication. Those shows are definitely nothing alike. They're like basically, besides the dramas part of it, they're like on opposite ends of the spectrum. Oh my god. Speaking of anime though, I can't wait for the Genshin Impact anime. Don't know how long that's gonna take, but yeah. It was dubbed on a free channel? Damn. Yeah, we didn't have... growing up, I had the, like... We have, like, 4 basic channels. And then anything extra you had to pay. A lot. What is your favorite show? An old show? Man, I watched so many cartoons growing up. And now I just can't think of any of them. I didn't really watch a lot of TV shows, to be fair. I used to watch fuckloads, and I think it was just because I watched with my mom. Days of Our Lives, and what was the other one? The Bold and the Beautiful. Oh my goodness. Watched that so fucking much. Like, literally every night that it was on, like, we'd sit and watch that. That was my family's thing. You used to watch a lot of Nickelodeon. Kim Possible? I watched some Kim Possible because they had it on the free channels at some point. Call me, beep me if you want to reach me. We had the same 4 channels until we got a Freeview box that was up to 20. Damn, but only 2. I mean, oh, not CBBC though. That's like actual kids channel. That's babies. I don't know CITV though, but CBBC is for babies, right? Like I want to say like Teletubbies kind of thing. I don't know what this guy's saying. He's having a moment over here. You liked camping movies? Are there a lot of those? I'm gonna be honest, I don't really know of any. This guy's still asleep. Seems happy. Ooh, there's an eyeball. What does it mean? I guess Paimon has no talent for this. Oh my goodness. Poor Paimon. Getting roasted by the stranger. Oh, CBBS. So CBBC was just like children's, like not babies. Ah, yes. Strong King oppressed his followers. Fantastic. 10 out of 10. What kind of crooked interpretation is that? Oh my goodness. The The lip stain that I'm using tonight's called Drama Queen. Very on brand, I think. Didn't we learn otherwise in the Archon quest? I honestly don't remember fishes, to be honest. I can't remember what we learned in the Archon quest. It's just the kids channel. CBBS is the baby channel. Oh, I see. I mean, either way, we didn't have those channels, so... we explored the tomb. If I say yes, fishes, is that the right answer? Because when I said I didn't remember, it really did mean that I don't remember. I started this quest a while ago and then completely forgot about it until recently, so it's gone. It's lost to the abyss. I don't remember what we discovered before. The Greater Lord and Scarlet King were friends. Ah.
2 hours later.
It's not that I'm slow, it's I'm forgetful, Lulu. In this case, it's very much because I'm forgetful. You're home, Yoda, in the dark. When does your power come back on? It's going to be important for 3.2 Archon Quest. Ah. Yeah. Maybe I need to go watch a playthrough of this story again, because I vaguely remember the relationship between the two. Okay, I just remembered something, but I'm not going to say anything because it's a speculation and or spoiler. So I zippered the lip. It's not load shedding, it's just an outage. Fuck! I heard actually quite a few people had outages today. I mean, I had no electricity for most of today, but people in other areas just had no electricity for no reason.
Would you like a cup of water? Because you look thirsty as fuck right now.
Do I, Lucy? I look thirsty as fuck? Damn, homie. Okay, let me take a sip. Thank you. Related to Greater Lord's fate? No, so it's actually about the King Deshret. But I'm not going to say anything more than that. Because it's speculation. Based on a very small fact. So that's why I zippered a lip. Yeah, we didn't have electricity. I think it went off at like 8 this morning or something, because when I got up for work we didn't have electricity. And then I think it only came back like at 2 o'clock. But then it was off again at 4 o'clock, so we had like 2 hours of electricity, and I was like, great! And my electricity I think is going off at 10? Let me just double check. Oh wait, it's not going off tonight. Nice! Okay. I'm good. Yeah, I think that would have been like major suck if my power was going off after just a couple of hours. It's not quite that bad yet. But with all this rain, I wouldn't be surprised if they're like, oh yeah, the coal is wet. Typical South Africa. Ayo! 40 primos! For clicking some buttons. Wow. Simasho, let's go. What? I was here before. This guy's still sleeping. You need to finish the quest as well. Did you remember the story, Yoda? Because I didn't. Fishes had to give me like a recap. It's telling me there might... Oh wait. Okay, never mind. We're good. Oh? Wait, isn't this... This is literally outside. Did we do all that stuff just to come outside? Vaguely. Yeah. I feel like, some of this has definitely been lost to the abyss. The thing is, like, there's just so much going on in terms of story right now. And all the events and whatever. That I kind of put this on the back burner and forgot about it. I don't know why, but the quests for this patch seem like so dialogue heavy. I thought Inazuma was dialogue heavy, but it felt like this patch there was just a lot of talking, but not a lot of actual talking, if that makes sense. So like unspoken dialogue like this, where I actually have to like focus, and I really struggle to focus. Y'all know my attention span is already like minimal, and then you add like this, it's just like it's gone. Samara has a few very long world quests. This one and the Aranara one. Death to Fishes, I actually only finished the Aranara one like recently, like I want to say last week or something. This feels like a main quest of some kind though. This is not like a small quest. Zero attention span, yeah, for real, Lucy. Like, and the other problem I have, you know, babies eventually learn. I feel like I didn't learn this, but like object permanence. If it is not in front of me, it does not exist. It's gone. I write lists to remember things, but the problem is that I forget about the list. So actually having the list doesn't help at all because I forget that I made a list. So I'm like, what is the point of this? Why did I love making lists, however. Making lists sparks joy. I just never go back to them. This is the main story quest. Oh yeah? But they don't have any spoken... Oh, goodness. Int is her dump stat? How dare you, Lulu? How dare. How very dare. What's my main stat then, Lulu? Ben! I don't want to accidentally wake up Sky. Yes. I love that we're talking to him like he's a little puppy. Your main stat is charisma. It's what I get discounts at shops or something. That kind of sucks. It's wisdom because you're old as fuck. God damn. Y'all got no fucking chill. We're already here, so of course we must go inside. Then let's fucking go, mate. Why are we still standing outside talking? Crust on a cracker. Wow. This guy. The amount of fan art of this man on Reddit. Oh, daddy. Jet's daddy. I wouldn't be surprised. Yoda, I haven't seen any. To be fair, I don't follow like any not safe for work things, so... And I feel like he's already not wearing a shirt, so anything they post of him is... I mean, is any of it not going to be not safe for work? Yes, let's stop delaying. We've been out here for like 10 minutes now. Rule 34. I mean, you would definitely find it there. I mean, what is that website? I don't know what that website is. I was watching, there's a YouTube channel that I used to watch when I was younger. What was it called? I say when I was younger, as if it was that long ago. It wasn't. They were part of Rooster Teeth. It's gone. What were they called? I honestly can't remember. Anyway, they used to go on to R34 for some stupid shit. Like in between playing games. Ah, Funhouse! Thank you. Thank you. At least someone was on the same page. My brain just like completely went blank. And the only thing I could think of was Try Guys. And I was like, no, it's not fucking Try Guys. The only reason Try Guys is in my brain is because of all the drama that's been happening lately. I need a thingy. Oh shit. Cutscene. On the character build Reddit. Oh, what the fuck? That's funny. Enjoy your movie, Hassan. Thank you for the hearts. Let's see. Ben hurt himself? What is going on here? That is fucking huge. You stopped watching Rooster Teeth years ago. Funhouse used to do some of the craziest shit. Elise will forever crack me up. Apparently, she's not part of Funhouse anymore. I stopped watching them years ago. That's why I say when I was younger, because it was when I was younger. Not much younger, but younger, you know. I haven't watched Funhouse in years, but yeah, they did all kinds of fucked up shit, and I was just like, god damn it. So yeah. But yeah, apparently Elise and James, they aren't in the current one. What did y'all think of Persona 5? It was confusing as all hell, Yoda, I'm not gonna lie. I felt like I was tripping. And I've never done drugs. I was just like, what the fuck is going on? The story was confusing as all hell. Like, Bruce also left? So Funhouse is no more because who's left? Lawrence? Is Lawrence doing... Lawrence does his own stuff as well, doesn't he? Good god. Ben pet when? Yes, like a little itty bitty flying one. You're gonna... No, Yoda, you can't explain again because the first time you explained it, it didn't make sense. There was just too much going on. And it was like heavy as well. I've never encountered such an off-the-bat heavy storyline. I was just like, what the hell? Lawrence left a while ago. Hi, Crossing Point. He left a while ago. I mean, to be fair, I haven't watched in a very long time. Since, what was his name? There was that other guy. There was some scandal because he was being a piece of shit. Which is sad because he was my favorite one. And then he ended up being a piece of shit and I was like, no! Curses. I don't even remember what he did. I just know he got into big trouble. There's an anime as well. Oh my god. New people came in, but I haven't watched in donkeys. Yeah, no, the last time I watched, the whole gang, you know, the old gang was together. Adam, that's the one. Fuck. He done did goofed up majorly. Completely fucked shit up. If I remember correctly, he actually did something like really terrible, so yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. I knew it was something like of a sexual nature, but I couldn't remember if he was like cheating because he's, if I'm not mistaken, he's married. But yeah. Grooming young woman and a dude from Achievement Hunter. Okay, I don't know what Achievement Hunter is, but so what, I need to unlock these things? Oh, it's for me? There's a chest? Did they do that to like distract me? I need to focus. I need to unlock this coffin. Oh, what is this? Oh, just loots. Okay, this is fine. Yoda, will the anime explain? Will the Yoda will the anime make sense if I don't know anything about the games? Ooh. Okay. There's a lot of shit going on here. Part of growing up with the internet seems to be finding out all the people you watch growing up were awful somehow. Right? Oh my goodness. So, okay, well, I never liked him. But that's simply because I didn't watch a lot of YouTube when I was younger. But, who was that other one? He got into big doo-doo. And a lot of people like Shane... It was Shane Dawson? Did some such fucked up shit. And I remember when there was like a whole bunch of like drama about that, people were like defending him and shit. And I was just like, maybe it's because I have no attachment to this individual, but like there's just some things that you can't defend. Like it doesn't make sense. It's just like, are you actually reading? And now there's a thing with Dream as well, who again, it's not a person that I know. I only know about them because I've seen them in the news. And I'm just like, what the fuck is wrong with people? Oh, can I open it? I can. It's like bewildering that people would defend them if someone does something wrong. Like, oh, okay, that hurts. There's an artist that I like who did like a collab with someone who was not a good person. So I just did not listen to the collab music. I was like, no. This person's a piece of shit. But some people just don't care about that kind of stuff either. And I'm just like, y'all don't find it weird? What was the point of that room? Did I go the wrong way maybe? Let me go try again. Half the brands I grew up listening to got me too in one way or another. Feels bad, man. Yeah. Fuck. Oh! Hello! How did I miss that? How did I miss that the first time around? Good job. Dream ain't in news for bad things. No, Lucy. He's in the news for bad things. He did do a face reveal, and then shortly afterwards, it was revealed that he was doing unsavory things. So yeah, he was doing some shit, Lulu. He revealed his true face. Yeah, exactly. His what is that light for? Puzzle? You need to check? Yeah. There's a fair amount of people defending him as well, and I'm just like, like it's wild. Like, I can't imagine like if you were a victim and you saw people online were defending that person, like how would you feel about that? Like it's like such a cringe thing to defend as well. Okay, so that makes a shiny light. And then, do I need to move this at all, or does it just do its thing? I have no idea what that's for, but it's okay. We'll come back to it later. Extreme celeb worship and defense really rubs me the wrong way. Yeah, because at the end of the day, they're just people. They do wrong things and they should be held accountable for it. But I think it very often doesn't, because people have a lot of money. They just try and buy silence, or, you know. But like, I would feel so sick to my stomach. Oh wait, I was like looking around. I couldn't see the things. I was like, did I go the wrong way? I'm stupid. Oh, there's a thing down there. Yeah, I don't know, man. People is people. I still don't know what that light over there is for. Fuck. I went that way, right? So I need to go back this way. I think the sooner people open their eyes and realize no one's perfect. People are gonna do stupid shit all the time. You know. But like, there's people defending like grooming and stuff. I'm like, how that's not a thing that you can defend. It's not like you can't just choose that this thing is okay to do because it's XYZ doing it, you know, like that's not how the world works. That's not how any of this works. Give me clearance, you fuck! Okay, I don't know what to do with that, it's okay. Shut up! I know I don't have clearance. Don't tell me how to live my life, man. Oh, fuck. That door just leads me back out here. Well, shit. Okay. Let's go turn this baby in because I forgot to finish this one. This music suddenly just got hella hectic. Ben Ben is the best part of this questline. Yes, I agree. Ben Ben Peto Wen. Ni Hoyo. Please. Imagine being 157 and told you don't have clearance. Hey! You leave my height out of this, or my lack thereof. God damn. Is it something to do with this? Did I? Oh, okay. Well, listen. I've never in my life claimed that I'm smart, so don't at me. Thank you. You'd throw money at the screen? Oh, what, for pets? A pet Ben? Yeah, probably me too, to be honest. I don't spend a lot on this game. And so far I haven't spent money on a skin. But if I didn't have Genesis crystals for a character that I really enjoy, like my three like mains would be Ayaka, Ito, and Yaimiko, like the three characters I enjoy playing the most at the moment. If there was a skin for one of them that came out and I didn't have Genesis crystals, I would buy them. But I almost always have Genesis crystals, so because I don't use the battle pass one or the Welkin one. That's my one height joke for the month. Are you gonna remember that? My spending caps out at Welkin and BP. Yeah, same crossing point. I'll buy Welkin and BP. I did on the last, before the last shop reset. I did buy Primos. Oh, not Primos, I bought the Genesis crystals. Just because I could. But typically I won't. I see Nat is talking herself into C6 Nida. No, I'm not. Bubble, you're picking up a Stompy there, mate. And the Stompy's got nothing to do with what's actually being spoken about. I wasn't talking about Nahida at all. I was talking about skins. So maybe you're just projecting there, Bubble. You must be projecting because I wasn't talking about Nahida at all. Does Welkin Genesis count? Well, that was before I bought. That was the only Genesis crystals that I had. That I got for myself. And then I bought the deluxe skin just because I had... There's the fireworks again. Hey, baby bear. Good you do. No, it's fine. Shame. Patiently waiting for Nahida banner to drop. Same crossing point. I actually got the dates wrong. I forgot Nilo was a thing. I completely forgot about Nilo's banner, and I was like, "Yay, Nahida time!" And then there was Nilo's banner, and I was like, "Oh fuck, I have to wait longer." Jesus. And my Nahida's mostly farmed out. I just need like 40 talent books or something. There's a bits emote you don't have access to? Really? That shouldn't... Which one is it? And if you need me to change anything, if you want me to move... Oh, the 200k one. What is at the 200k though? Because I can't see which ones are which. Oh, the nom. If you want me to move any of them around, Jargon, since you can make use of the bits ones, just tell me and I'll move them around for you. Just been doing some research on the dream drama. Someone's claimed he's done really bad stuff. He's saying he hasn't, is going to seek legal advice. Either way, if he isn't guilty, then amazing. But if he is guilty, he should face jail time. Definitely. Hello, Poopstick. Are you good? You good, homie? I just want to get a treat for Sky, guys. I'll be back in a second. It's giving me time to save up. You're guaranteed and you have 40 wishes to drop on day 1. Ah, nice, nice, nice. Well, best of luck, Crossing Point. I hope she comes home, like, really quick. Then you can save those other wishes for something else. This music is making this whole thing seem very intense. Okay, let me just pause for a second. Actually, I'm gonna run an ad. So, you guys, go get some water. Go to the loo. Go get a snack. Stretch your legs. Thank you, Jargon. Do whatever it is that you need to do. I'm gonna be right back. I need to get a treato for my doggo. And, yeah. I'll see you in a bit. Thank you, Johnny! Alright, I'm gonna be right back. Let me put the be right back screen on. Bam! I'm miserable right now.
Got him!
This is impressive and not in a good way. I agree, but I just got one now, so maybe I should be thankful. Okay, now another one. That's not him. That's also not him. That's especially not him. That is a bow. That is not a dog boy. That is also not a dog boy. This is disappointment. I'm gonna go ugly cry. This is a cat! Ah! And I don't play scary games at all. I am a chicken bitch of note, let me tell you. I get a fright from my own notifications if I don't see them coming, so...
Got him!
You guys! Listen, Tango, they never say why the... What's going on here? I had my headset on, I just heard like blooping the whole time. What the heck? You're lurking, you have a terrible storm and no power at the moment? Oh goodness, Johnny, you don't have to lurkies. Save your battery, man. And your interwebs and stuff. I hope everything's okay though. What did I miss? Jargon, you got a gift subby for Crossing Point. For Johnny and for Oxy. Thank you, thank you. Where the potato? I was just getting a snack for my dog and then I went and got a snack for myself. I got a Tinky, formerly known as Twinkies. This one's milk tart flavored. So. My boyfriend accidentally bought them. He had no idea they were milk tart flavored. He doesn't like milk tarts. So it was very much a mistake. Thank you so much for the gift subbies, friend. This music is very intense, but this music is not like the actual game music. It's just the playlist for Sumeru. Yoinks the Twinkie? You can fucking try, Oxy. I'll knock you out. Don't touch my food. Don't come between Tato and her food. If she loves you, she'll share. If not, shame. Be careful. That's all I'm saying. I won so many achievements tonight. I remember when I didn't even have 500. Now I'm like over 600. It's storming here as well, not as bad. Yeah, it's calmed down here, but there's lots of fireworks for the Diwali. It's a milk tart Tinky. But it's definitely a Twinkie in my heart. I'll never not call them Twinkies. But on the wrapper it says Tinky, which I hate. The milk tart flavor is nice. Ah, it's okay. I don't really care that much for milk tart. You'll take a Twinkie? Okay. I'll keep a Twinkie for you, Cupcake. Square up, potatoes. You wanna fight, mate? I'll wreck you. Listen, you can't bring this aggression here, Otzi. This was my Twinkie that you wanted to steal from me. You can't bring the aggression. Absolutely not. You can't bring aggression when you're trying to steal from me. Me, I have the aggression because I'm defending my Twinkie. They probably got sued by real Twinkies. The thing is, we used to have Twinkies here in South Africa. I don't know when that changed or why it's changed, but we no longer have Twinkies. Now we only have Tinkies. And I'm very confused by it all. I don't know why there was a change. I don't know what happened. What's under this, though? Is there... Oh, there's nothing. I'm glad I didn't jump down. You'll come and fetch it? I'm just gonna have to explain to my boyfriend why there's a man who's just here to pick up a Twinkie and then leave. Come on, Halloween. You do not have enough parents. And then we'll just pretend it's like Halloween candy, yeah? That's a thing, right? That's the thing we do here. I'll forever say Twinkie. What's a Tinky? Exactly. I fucking hate the name. I'm just like, no, it's a Twinkie, man. But the rapper is lying to us. It says Tinky. Disgusting. Ew. His organs are here? You'll bring your doggos too, it'll make it less suspicious. I feel like that's probably a bad idea, Cupcake, because my dog will try to eat them, so perhaps not. Sky has got like an aggression issue. I'm gonna commit arson. You're not making this case better for yourself, Oxy. Just saying. Ah, yes, beep. I understand. You're setting the ocean on fire? Listen, I think Hydro Boy is gonna need to have a talk with you, Oxy. Hydro Boy is gonna have a sit down with you and have a very serious, strongly worded discussion with you about setting the ocean on fire. How do we even know what Ben's saying? He could literally just be saying these nuts the whole time, and we're just like, ah, yes, what Ben said. Because that makes complete sense, yeah? Or does somehow Jet understand Ben? Did I miss that part of the story? She perfectly understands him. Ben is right or Paimon is right? Is this going to be one of those ones where it's like, here's what adventurers chose, and I'm going to be the 0.01% who said Paimon's right? This long quest it is. We don't actually know, but Jet can mostly interpret his actions. Oh. Ben agrees. I'm gonna take that as an agreement. Oh? Didn't we find loads of these stone slates everywhere? Okay, one person is lit up. Cool. Clearance? Don't talk to me about clearance, fishes. I don't have clearance. How's Sky dealing with the fireworks? I think he's okay. Speak of the devil, he came back into the room. Hi, sweet boy. You wanna lay down? He was wandering around the house looking for me. My door was closed, but I could hear him. Yeah, he's doing okay. He's not a fan of it, but like, as long as he can come sit with me, he's mostly okay. Excuse me, sir, can I help you? Where are you going? Huh? Why are you creeping under my table? You're too big. He's a big boy. Hey, Lily? Yeah. Do you want to lay down? Or do you want to go out? He's just like standing here. You can kind of see there's a little bit of his butt in the corner. Hold on. Yeah, there's fireworks at the moment, actually. Hey, Poopstick! This is my goofy boy. Yeah, he's just standing here like a big old goober. He's not even doing anything, he's just staring into the nothingness. Hey. Hey! What are you doing? Huh? He is, naughty boy. Hey? Yeah. Sometimes he's a good boy. But at the moment he's being a naughty boy. Hey, what are you doing? You got your nose in my bin. Huh? I'm trying to look for a snack. There's no snack in there, buddy. Huh? Yeah! Naughty boy. Are you done? I'm gonna pull my phone off the table. Yeah! Are you done? You wanna go? He's like, Mom, you don't got snacks for me. Why am I here? Just to suffer? Ooh! There's the fireworks. Just getting ear scratches now. If you don't want to listen to the fireworks. Hey! Oh, you're such a big baby. Hey, lollipop! Hey, my darling. What do you want to do? You want to go? Hmm? What do you want? He's the cutest. My little man, my old man, my grandpa. Grandpa Sky. Hey. He loves Yellow, so that's his kryptonite and his weakness. He'll come lay next to the bed, or like he'll stand next to the bed and just like drop his head down next to me. And be like, woman! Yellow. Hey? Very needy boy. Only when he wants something though. Okay? When you want a treat, when you want an ear rub, otherwise leave me alone, hey? Go do your own thing. You wanna go out? Oh? Are you good? He's just laying down now. You good, honey? Yeah. Well, let me know if you want to go out. You're gonna bark at me. Are you gonna bark, Lulu? Huh? Are you gonna bark? Hi, Sophie. Hi. Ow! Shut Gonna get a awa awa. Gonna get a awa awa. Gonna get a awa awa. Yeah, he doesn't really respond to that. I'm still trying my luck though. Hi! Hi, sweet boy. Hey, Lily. Oh. Hey, Lulu. Oh! Oh! Huh? You gonna do this? No piggies. Oh! Yeah! Hey, sweet boy. Oh! He's so cute. When am I seeing him? I mean you again. Opa's guy, he is an Opa though. Hey Lily! Hey Lulu! I have no idea, Mao. When am I seeing you again? Hey cheeky boy! Cheeky old man! Yes! Yes you are! Cheeky boy! Yeah! Yeah! You can't get up, can you? Hey, old man. You good? You good, Motherby? His flippy ears. This weekend, but he's not coming. Yeah, he can't. Hi, Roxy! Hello, hello! He's just staring at me now. I hope he goes to sleep. He must go do these. Sorry, we were just busy chatting to Sky. He was chatting back, being a chatty boy. Sassy boy. I'm doing good, Roxy. How are you? I actually need to double check with Ash to see if she's still going to the picnic this weekend. I don't know if she has plans. She said she wants to go, but I don't know if she's remembered that she's still doing that. I can't remember exactly where this is positioned. Something like that. Alright. Let's go back. What's this rave music? You good? He's just staring at me. I really wish I knew where my other webcam was, man. I have no idea where I would have put it. I saw dog! Where is dog? Show me dog! Dog is sleeping. Well, not sleeping, but he's laying on the floor next to me. Love that Kaiser was just invading your screen behind you all sneaky like, yeah. Definitely getting bombed there by Kaiser. I'll show Doggo one more time, yeah? I don't know what's going on in the story here, but we're solving puzzles. That's all I can figure out so far. Let me turn that. And we'll bump this down. There's the boy. He's very camera shy though. He does not want to be perceived. $100k points? Only 150k to go? Damn, Yoda! Damn! There's the pooper. He's a little bit stressed out from the thunderstorm and the fireworks. Hey? Hey, old man. Hey, old man. Yeah. So he's just chilling here with me. He's doing his own thing. Hey, Poopstick. Yeah, he's just staring at me now because he's like, Mom, where's a treat? Give me a treat, please. He is the goodest boy. He is very good. Boop dog for good luck in next poll. Yeah, maybe I must do that when Nahida comes out. Just boop the sky nose. But yeah, here's my boy. He's very old. He's on very strong medication for his arthritis. So we're not too sure how much time he has left with us. So we're just making sure that he's a happy boy for however much more time we have with him. So yeah, it's a little bit sad. Okay. Fuck, I did all that and I got 5 primos. God damn it. Please, mihoyo. Please. End my suffering. Oh my god. But wait, it gets worse. Now there's a bunch of fatui causing trouble in the middle there. He's with you. He is a happy boy. Oh, thank you, Mama. That's all I can hope for. 5 primos? You rich? I'm rich, bitch! I got all the primos.
Oxidize screamed bad joke time with Oxy.
Uh-oh.
What did the one Frenchman say to the other one?
Oh, no.
I don't know. I don't speak French.
Okay, that was good. Like in the worst kind of way good. Ah, I like that. Thanks, Oxy. Oh my god. I taught a lesson today on puns. So I was explaining puns to my students and I said to her, I was like dad jokes, you know? Oh my goodness. I don't know. You can't really see him. I guess we're timing out Oxy for that bad joke. Now I need to remember how to do it. Because I haven't timed out someone in a long time. How long was it? Oh, it's for 5 minutes. Damn. Was it 300? Was it 300 seconds? Yeah. 5 minute timeout. Ayo. Bye, Oxy! It was a good joke, though. I liked it. Sorry you got timed out for it, though. It was funny, but not good. That's why we gotta do it, Oxy. Oh, okay. How are you doing today? Ben's gone? Oh, fuck. Oh, shit. We're lost without Ben. He's the one who opens doors and stuff for us. You got Starbucks banning viewers. It's a good day. I mean, fair enough, Kay. If that's what you consider to be a good day, then sure. Oh, God. There's so much stuff in here. So is this where the rest of the scarabs are? There's something here, but I don't see it. Because I know people kept telling me that most of the scarabs, or at least a large amount of the scarabs are online, underground. Wow, words are fucking hard, man. Woof. Uh-oh. I need a wishy for that? God damn it. This is fine. What's the time anyway? Oh shit. Do I stream for a bit longer because I had to start my stream late? Decisions. You outies, Yoda! Have a wonderful evening, friend. I hope your Electrix comes back soon. Nice. I might just end at my normal time. I've been struggling to sleep lately, so I think staying up would be a bad idea. Ill-advised idea. Cause your girl's still gotta work tomorrow. I don't even know why I collect the star shrooms. I literally have nothing to do with them, so they're just sitting there, chilling. So I need to find Ben. Oh wait. Ben? I got fucking bamboozled. I was like, something gonna pop up? Why are there frogs under here? It's so fucking dry. Surely not. Oh, sorry, lizard. This is fine. Oh, a little weasel. Oh, wait, what's up that way? Was there anything? A door that cannot be opened? I'm so glad. This is great. This is fine. Oh, lovely. Stinky scorpion. Okay, well this makes a little more sense as to why there's frogs down here. There's a fair amount of water. Yeah. Does Hazel say yeah? Hazel should have had kitty cat ears. That would have been hella cute. Ah, yes. What is that deep voice? Oh my god. Is there someone behind the wall? No, it was just him? The fuck? That voice sounded exceptionally deep for one of those guys. That's not a button? Nope. This is fine. Ooh. Chicken wing, hot dog and bologna, chicken macaroni, chilling with the homies. Chicken wing, hot dog and bologna, chicken macaroni. Welcome, homies. Hey, hot dog and bologna, chicken macaroni, chilling with the homies. Welcome, Pixie. How are you? How was your stream? You playing Call of Duty? You playing them pew pew games? I'm gonna be honest with you, Pixie. I don't know pew pew games very well. But did you have fun? Did you shoot people? Thank you so much for the raid and welcome raiders. Hi Modster Woody. My name is Nat Tato. I'm a variety streamer from South Africa. I do play a lot of Genshin Impact, which is the game I'm currently playing. But yeah, I play all kinds of things. Yeah, but you had a fun stream. Fantastic. I'm very glad to hear that. Yeah, how's everybody doing? I know it's a Monday. I know it's not great, but I hope you had a good day. If not, then have a great day tomorrow instead. Show this week who's boss. First time playing campaign. Oh, there's a campaign? I knew that. I did know that. Let's say yes. Let's definitely say yes. I did know that. But yes, welcome in everyone. Also, I do cosplay things. So if anybody's interested in that, stick around, yo. I'm hopefully doing a cosplay stream again soon, because it has been a very long time. I want to attack this guy, but there's a fox behind him. I need to wait for the fox to run away. Oh, and he's a cryo? Stinky. Best welcome ever. Oh, I'm so glad. I really do appreciate when people raid me. So I want them to feel that. I want them to feel that appreciation. So yeah, I'm glad. But yeah, campaign for... I feel like whenever I think of those Pew games, I always think that it's like, what do they call it? What's that popular one at the moment? Battle Royale. And that game mode that's like CS:GO. When I think of Pew games, that's what I think of.
Excuse me.
Thank you for the follow, Pixie. Appreciate that. Jargon, can we get a... Did you give Pixie the other shout out? You did. Did I miss it? Wait, let me just see. Can I follow you this way? Or is it gonna be weird? Oh, wait, I do follow you. Okay, we're good. I hate not following people back because I'm very forgetful. And I know that I will do it. Normally I go through like my raid list and be like, who have I not followed yet? Because I follow... the other thing I do is I follow people on Twitter and I'm like, yeah, I'll follow their Twitch later. And then I just don't. So yeah. I'm very, very guilty of forgetting to do that. Free apples for me? Thanks. Also, Woody, sorry I didn't see your message earlier. I'm doing good. How are you? I hope you've had a good Monday. If not, then have a good Tuesday. Make it so. There's a lot of fucking... I've picked up so many of these things tonight. How many did I have before? I had like 5 or something. Oh, well, I've doubled it. It's kind of getting more worth it to make those other things. I just don't know how many are available yet. If it's locked behind progress. Oh, that was a mistake. This is fine. This guy's just invited himself to the party. And this guy. Oh my goodness. There's a whole lot of nonsense going on down here. This guy's thrown up his shield. For whatever reason. Cool. This is going to be very unfun. But it's okay. I literally don't have anyone who can break a shield. At least the game is pretty, so... Fuck. Let's see. Give me something pretty. Ah! A hut? Oh my goodness. We got a hut and a cart. Not very pretty, but you know. Let's see. Oh, great. Where you at? Be gone! Noise. Oh, there's just so many things. There was a spoopy spoop somewhere as well, and there's a shiny boy over here. This is why my exploration for the desert is so low, because everything was underground. Exploding barrels? Barrels! What's Hazel doing here? Well, you see, there's a lot of things in the sand, so I needed Hazel to uncover those things. Is he friendly? Is Hazel friendly? I don't know, man. Do you think he's friendly? There's the scarab. He's got a little poop ball. Come with me, buddy. I definitely won't eat you. Oh, there's another one. He was just literally minding his own business, and I was like, hello! He's a detective, so he's good at finding them. Oh, what, the bugs? Pretty sure it's supposed to be, Pretty sure it's supposed to be Tanari's job to find the bugs. Did they really just chill there? He's just minding his own business, and then I'm like, whoop, into my pocket you go. I've already lost the objective. I don't know where I'm going or what I'm doing. The things in the sand, but also the bugs. All right. Yeah, look. I really need to swap my Hazel's weapon out. At some point. Hey, yo, give me free mows. Please and thank you. Oh, I'm actually getting sigils as well. 4 levels on the tree. Fuck yeah. Let's see. Proceed. Oh, I need to go up there. Oh, so I was going the right way. I got distracted in the best kind of way. But I want to go get that Sealy before I forget, because Lord knows I'm going to. He needs Kagura's Verity? I don't think he does, though. Surely not. He would want one with EM. I know you're just being a shit, but... I wonder if it would be any good on him. Because if it were, then wouldn't it be good on Sucrose? Imagine that on Sucrose. Wait, what is that? Did my music stop playing again? It did! This bitch. This bitch. Unbelievable. Did they really just chill there? He's just minding his own business, and then I'm like, whoop! Into my pocket you go. Did they... Sucrose isn't main DPS? I'm offended, Jargon, that you would say that. How dare you? This guy's asleep again. I know y'all just watched me do this, but it's fine. Did they really just chill there? He's just minding his own business, and then I'm like, whoop! Into my pocket you go. Did they really just... That's me whenever I see small cute people. I'm like, whoop! Into my pocket you go. Have a snack. Sucrose can absolutely be main DPS. I don't know what you're talking about, Jargon. Wait, where did the spoop go? Oh, never mind. We're good. Should make them big swirly whirlies. I almost fell down. That would have been funny, but like in the worst kind of way. Since I probably will go down at some point. Yeah. Let's come back to this one at another point. Is the music too loud, too intense? It's not her main role, it is his. Well, I still wouldn't put Kagura's on him, to be fair. Main DPS or not. When are they going to introduce mounts in this game? I feel like we should have had a mount in this desert. It's so fucking huge. The music's fine? Okay, perfect. I wasn't sure. Because it's very intense music. And it's just making me want to run and be like, ah! Where am I going? What do I need to do? Kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? You picking up what I'm putting down? Oh shit, I need to end soonish. Shit. Whoop! I don't think I need to go down there. Not yet. What? There's a stone tablet down there though. Fuck. this little weasel Ben Ben? Has that been Ben Ben all along? Oh. You only realize that now, guy? Ooh, Hazel! Big fucking slapper, boy. Cahoots? What a silly word. Yeah? I don't know. It's a cool word. I'm gonna be honest, I don't think I've ever used it. In the history of ever. Don't think I've ever said cahoots. Nintendo sees shiny thing, must see what's down there. Yeah, it's very difficult. You know, short attention span. If I see something shiny, I'm like, ooh. If it's shiny, it means it's for me. What else could it possibly mean? If not for me. Get them! Get them, Lamine. Slapper. Big slapper. I don't need the mushroom materials anymore, because I have enough, but it won't hurt to get more, yeah? Ooh, there's a waypoint. Yeah, they're dangerous for me, Cupcake. Like, I'm so easily distracted. There's even more shiny things in here. Are you joking? No. We just go there and smack them, you know. Did they kidnap Ben Ben? We better go. We better go and kick their asses if they did. I'm not calming down, sir. It's not happening. They stole our Ben Ben. We need to go and reclaim Ben Ben. We need him for the research, apparently. Never mind that he's our friend. Everyone wants him as Petto. But I think that's where we're gonna call it, guys, because I need to sleep at some point, you know? I be like that sometimes. Who needs badge? Badge? You mean bedge? It's bedge time. Work can wait. Genshin has all the shiny things. You know what? If I didn't have a job, then I wouldn't have things to stream in Genshin, because that shit would be done so quickly. I would have run out ages ago of content. 11 months, 30 days, and 2 hours. Is it a year, Hassan? I just called your boss and got you fired? Really? Shit. I don't even know who my boss is, so I don't know how you manage that. It is? I mean, it doesn't say a year, Hassan. Maybe try again tomorrow. You'll have to try again tomorrow. Primos, tasty primos. Get in my pocket. I'm gonna spend it on my baby. What's poppin'? Don't mind me just watching. Thank you, Lily. I'm actually gonna be finishing up now, so it's all good. It's all good. There's our boy. Emperor Winnie the Pooh. Wait, what? Jargon? I can't believe you done this. Oh my goodness. What do you mean finishing? Hassan, you know. You know. None of this should be a surprise. I need to go find my next raid victim. Oh! I couldn't mute the tab because it was getting blocked by my sound. They'd definitely fire you for me saying that. Yeah, 100%. Why are you trying to get me fired? What the hell is this? What the hell? How could you? The betrayal. Ultimate betrayal. Do we want to... Just trying to see if there's anyone who raided me recently that I can raid back. Do you see anyone, Dragon? I have someone in mind, but... it's not someone that I'm very familiar with. No worries, Hassan, it's fine. It's all good. Or do we want to go to Genshin? Because there's a person we can wait if we want to go to Genshin. I don't know what they're doing though. No one has any opinion on the matter. This is fine. Okay, yeah, we can head over to someone who's playing Genshin. Before I push the raid through, however, yeah, I just want to say thank you to everyone. My schedule this week is a little bit up in the air. For those of you who know about load shedding, you know it'd be like that sometimes. For those of you who don't know, thank you, Lily! For those of you who don't know, we have rolling blackouts in South Africa, so our electricity is very unreliable. So not only do they like turn off the electricity like randomly, but we also don't know if it will necessarily be coming back, so that kind of sucks. But yeah, it looks like this week I should be able to stream normal time for the rest of the week. Yeah, shouldn't be an issue. Alright. But yeah, thank you all again so much. You guys must have a wonderful day and or evening wherever you are in the world. Please take care of yourselves. Like me, I'm going to bed early, relatively early. Because rest is very important. Hydrate, go drink some water, eat something tasty, do something that makes you happy. Alright. That's how we roll. New hair? Yeah, my hair's purple. Thanks for noticing. But yes, please do take care of yourselves, everyone. I will be back tomorrow. So around the same time. If you want to get notifications and stuff, you can check my socials. I've got Twitter, I've got Instagram, that I regularly post on. And then there's also Discord if you do want to join. Yeah. Trying to think if there's anything else. If anyone wants to add me in Genshin as well, the NA account is very baby inactive, but EU is my main account that I play on a lot. And yeah, I think we're good to go, actually. That's everything. Alright. So we're gonna go to one of my favorite content creators, Genshin Impact streamer, called I'm Not a Sadist. He's very cute, very funny. He makes great content on Instagram as well, so if you guys use Instagram, definitely check him out. But yeah, let's get that raid message. And we're gonna go give our love to Sadist. But yes, otherwise everyone, please do take care. I'll see you tomorrow. Yeah. Alright. Bye guys! And then we sit here awkwardly as the credits roll, and I'm gonna let it roll at least once before we say goodbye, because look at all them subby bubbies. We got some followers as well. Welcome to all the peepos, and thank you for chilling with us tonight. Grab that raid message. We go give love. We go give love to Sadist. Alright, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye!